Hello, I'm from Bristol, I am. Hello, my lover. So on buses, they've got like announcer voices letting you know what's happening, right? And the announcer voice on this Bristol bus is like, next stop is Wootton. Next stop is Broadmoor. Next stop, City Centre, my lover. And every time she said it, I was just leaving him to wait going, hey, next stop, City Centre, my lover. Oh, God, is it time? I've got to get the headphones on then. Next stop, Bristol, my lover.
Next stop, Fortean Words, my lover.
Next stop, True Crime Podcast, my lover. What do they mean by is that an American term? You know how Americans have real estate? Is it like a true crime podcast as opposed to fictitious crime podcast?
If you're doing fraud, isn't that a fake crime podcast?
I don't know. Fraudulent crime podcast. Now there was an idea.
Yeah, Gert Lush.
It's
a
$1 million idea. Gert Lush, my lover.
Yeah.
Next stop, Hobbit's been to a concert in Bristol, my lover.
I was just explaining the cultural phenomenon of Joey Deacon to Hobbit, and now he gets it. Just imagine thinking, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to show school children this spacker, and they'll be so sympathetic.
Yes. Well. With one slight small asterisk footnote, with sympathy as in no, not really.
I know this is going to be a new insult. It's just Blue Pete might as well have gone. We need a new insult for school children to use.
Look, children, you're not allowed to call them spastics anymore. Call them Joey Deacon. Also, the guy that wrote it in the thing, he misspelled Deacon. So I said, you've misspelled Deacon, you Deacon. You Joey Deacon. I hope he'll appreciate, and I think he'd admit that himself.
Yeah, I think he would.
Yeah. So,
Joey.
That's enough procrastination. We've got a real... Oh, hang on. Ooey gooey, spoopy doopy true crime podcast to you about true crimes that truly happened for true. There. Now we've got the Americans.
Commented, I love Hobbit's impressions of James Randi.
I don't remember. I will say this to the audience. If you're new to this show, I like doing silly voices. It's how I cope, okay? The silly voices is how I cope with some truly heinous stuff. And I believe this episode is marked H for heinous.
And obviously, don't forget Tank the Lord from last week. Annoyingly unlistenable.
That was last week.
A week before, I think, actually, wasn't it?
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, you'd have enjoyed that one when we had, was it microphone problems or something? Oh, I don't remember.
Oh, is that what? Is that why? Oh, yeah, because I had it overdone. Rosie Jones is the present day Joey Deacon, says. Rosie Jones is a Joey Deacon. See, why can't Rosie Jones do a bit about Joey Deacon? Because then that would be like meta humour, then, wouldn't it?
Is she in Spanish Parliament?
No, she's allegedly a stand-up comedian, performer, entertainer.
You see, I like comedians. The ends mean not really.
Yeah. Well, we know what the ends mean, and we can't repeat it on YouTube.
Yeah. Well, the comedian bit. Yes, quite.
Yeah.
So, ooey dooey, spoopy, you got to use all those terms, right? And that gets like the true crime aficionados interested. If you don't say those terms, they just turn off. It's a real ooey gooey humdinger of one.
I didn't put Mark Dutroux in the thing. So anyway, we're going to talk about a wonderful humanitarian by the name of Mark Dutroux.
Well, when we say humanitarian, this is what people and. Can I just say the bit about like the term is a misnomer because he's not really one, or is that like not worth repeating?
Well, in the same way that Bill Gates is a humanitarian.
Yeah, or like, I mean, I believe there is the scale of Madeleine McCann to Jimmy Savile of how much she loved children, and I believe this man is towards the McCann's side of child loving, as
No,
in,
well, yeah.
look,
I don't,
I
did
want to
he
say,
murder anyone? Here you go, so you can read along a bit. I'll put it in.
well, he did interfere with corpses, which is like
Mm.
pretty reprehensible as well. But I'm saying
Typical,
he's on the
typical Belgian, isn't
McCann.
he? Is he a typical Belgian? I bet.
I would like strongly disavow that. Um, but so I'm trying to like thread the needle here on this one, and it's a bit tricky.
Interdimensionalist
But
failed it. Reginald D. Hunter is a comedian.
ah, yes, I believe so. Sources
Did we
point
up to
to
what did we up
yes
to
on that
last
one.
week? I can't remember what we did. Was it Grim up north last week as well? Then was it?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
The, people in that listen to our show know better than we do. It's like fans versus people that create stuff. Like,
Mm,
well, we're just the ones that create it. The fans are the ones who really know like the true
mm.
episode titles and continuity and jokes and gaffs. They get it.
So Mark, this guy just kind of reminds you of so many other of his ilk, like Epstein and probably some more,
Fine.
and probably Diddy. Um, Mark Paul Alain Dutroux, French
Did he don't?
pronunciation Merc Pickle Ale Dutroux. I'm pretty sure that's not how it's pronounced.
My God, it's like I'm speaking. It's like I'm in the middle of a Parisian cafe.
I said, how are you supposed to read that pronunciation? Like, I don't even understand any of that.
What is it you reading?
Why is it upside down capital R?
Oh, look, don't bother. Look, okay, the pronunciation guide, no idea, but would you like me to have a go at it?
Go on then, Hobbit.
Macbul, Mac,
Let's have it in the original
Macbul,
Belgian.
Bull, Alain Dutroux.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is a Belgian convicted serial killer, serial rapist, and child molester. Initially convicted for the abduction and rape of 5 young girls in 1989, Dutroux was released on parole after just 3 years imprisonment. That's
Well,
for the
he's learnt his
abduction
lesson.
and rape of five young girls.
Well, he's learnt his lesson.
Yeah.
Mistakes were made. Let's just move on.
He's told us he's a good boy now, and he's not going to do it again.
And I believe the Belgian probation service believed him on that.
He was arrested again in 1996 on suspicion of having abducted, tortured, and sexually abused 6 girls. So what's that? That's about 4 months, isn't it then?
Well,
6 girls.
did he?
Are we going to do the maths problem, Hobbit? Hobbit, if you get 3 years for 5 young girls, what do you get for 6 young girls?
What speed was the train leaving the station in Liège at the time?
Sorry.
But I think
he sexually abused 6 girls aged between 8 and 19, 4 of whom were killed. I don't think they were killed. I think they were murdered. I don't think they were killed. I don't think it was whoopsie.
They were killed in a murdery sort of way.
Yeah. Dutroux
In a murdery sort of way, they were killed.
Yeah. Let's hope he actually did some fucking time this time. Dutroux's widely publicised trial. Have you ever noticed with paedophiles, it always starts much like, was it Roy Whiting? They're allowed to get away with it, and then they do a murder, and then we'll go, oh no, how did he get to murdering people? It might have been all the times you let him get away with it in the first place.
Well, mistakes were made, and I'm sure the Belgian authorities have learned since then. Oops, never mind.
We've done a review into it. Lessons were learned.
And in the words of the Belgian probation service, you can't unfuck that child. Which some might say was an incredibly insensitive and frankly evil comment to make. But what do I know? I'm not the Belgian probation service.
Dutroux's accomplices included his wife, lovely, Michelle Martin. Go on, I think you're going to have to do these names, I bet.
Oh yes. So yeah. So I did tried with conviction on Chan 2004 sentence to life in prison.
Yeah.
Dutroux' accomplices include his wife Michael Martin, Michael Lelièvre,
Yeah. Lily livered.
Lelièvre,
Is it Lily livered? Is it Lily livered fart?
Michael Lielvry, Michael Nihol, lot of Michael. Is this kind of like you know how a lot of people like the name Mohammed? Is this just a thing? They
Got
all called Michael.
Michelle.
So we got Michael Martin, Michael Lelive, Michael Nihol, oh, and Bernard Weinstein.
And Bernhard Weinstein. Martin.
No, no,
Martin
no.
was,
Weinstein is our word. You have to say Steen.
yeah, Stein. Stein. Don't we have to do?
Stein,
You have to
Stein
do
is
it
our word.
in the original steptoe. Much Stein.
Stein is our word. You may not say it. You have to say Steen.
Martin was convicted and sentenced to 30 years in prison, while Lelièvre was sentenced to 25 years. Nihoul, a Brussels businessman, pub owner, and familiar face at sex parties. Are you really known for your
Is that
face
because
at
his
sex
face
parties?
is being? Yes, because his face was being pooed on.
Was initially tried as an accomplice to the kidnappings, but was acquitted owing to insufficient evidence. He was instead convicted of involvement in a gang that participated in human and drug trafficking. Yeah.
So in other words, the not Kevin Bacon. Who's that one that got away because all the witnesses were killed?
Oh yes.
So there's
well, I don't know. I think you might allegedly be talking about Kevin Spacey.
Yes, which allegedly because it never happened and it was proven in a court of law.
Well, it wasn't proven
never
in a court of law, was it? Because dead men tell no
allegedly
tales, as Iron Maiden so.
Allegedly, even though all of the victims and witnesses allegedly died in suspicious circumstances. Allegedly.
Yeah.
Look, Kevin Spacey allegedly. I've not said anything about you.
Sound mind and body, and I have no intentions of going up in a Cessna. So,
yeah.
Believe. So think what you will of that.
Let's use the TikTok term. I do not wish to commit unalived.
Yes. Or fly in a Cessna that's badly serviced.
I have no desire to do a light aircraft flight at any point in time. So, I think we covered ourselves all right there.
Yeah, I think people now know that we're not going up in the Clinton family airplane.
I just don't think Kevin Spacey's going to write me a Christmas card this year for some reason. I don't know. Yeah.
He was instead convicted of involvement in a gang that participated in human and drug trafficking and was sentenced to 5 years in prison. Weinstein was never tried as he was murdered by Dutroux before being identified as accomplice. Well, that's rather anti-Semitic of him, isn't it? So you can add anti-Semitism to a list of Dutroux's crimes.
Well, up until this point, I thought he was an all right guy, but now I hear this, I'm just like, this guy is just. I'm gonna say it. I think this guy is a stinky jerk. He's a big, fat, smelly jerk. There, I've said it.
The lenient result of Dutroux's first prosecution, as well as shortcomings on the part of the police in investigating his murders, caused widespread discontent in Belgium with the country's criminal justice system.
Did you just accuse the Belgian police of incompetence?
I didn't. 300,000 Belgian citizens did. In Belgium, with the country's criminal justice system resulting in the complete reorganisation of Belgium's law enforcement agencies. In the White March, held on the 20th of October 1996. Do you remember this at all, Hobbit?
No, I don't. No. My relatives did not talk about this.
Oh, okay.
It was seen as impolite too.
300,000 Belgian citizens protested the mishandling of the case. Marc Dutroux was born in Ixelles. Is it Ixelles? Ixelles?
Oh yeah, let's have a look. So
Early life. Do you want to do his early life, Hobbit? Because there'll probably be some
yeah,
fucking
so
bullshit.
Marc Dutroux was born in Ixelles, which is a part of Brussels, on the 6th of November 1956 to Victor Dutroux and Jeanine Laurence.
No ones.
He is the eldest of five children. Yep. Dutroux spent part of his
And
early
arguably the most
childhood.
successful. Too
Yeah,
soon?
well, he's the most well known of the Dutroux family.
Yes.
Is it? So anyway, Dutroux spent part of his early childhood in Burundi, as was fashion at the time, which was then part of the Belgian Congo, where his father worked as a teacher. After Burundi gained independence in mid-1962, Dutroux's family moved back to Belgium and settled in the village of.
Independence from Belgium? Belgium, then, I'd assume.
It's independence from civilization. They wanted to go back to their time-honored tradition of boiling each other in a pot and eating the bones thereof. After Burundi, yeah, so he settled in the village of Aubé in the Hainaut-Provence. Oh, do I know that village? Let me just have a look. I'm going to do. I'm going to look to where I grew up in because I did grow up in the Hainaut-Provence, whose name I cannot pronounce, by the way, because they don't like to use the H pronouncing it. So, Han Oi, Han U, Han E. Let me just have a look. Oh, it's actually saved in where I want to go. So let's just see it. I'm having a look now. Oh, and of course it's struggling with it. Is that no? That's not Hanoi Provence. Really? That is 100 kilometers east of a location that I happen to know.
Mm-hmm.
Is that? Hang on. Look, audience, bear with me whilst I familiarise myself with Belgian geography. Hainaut province. Let me just have a look at this. So I need to know now. Inquiring minds, i.e. mine.
Of Wallonia.
Yeah, exactly. So if I have a look at images, and Hainaut province. Oh, no, that can't be it. That's literally the entire west of Belgium. Yeah, but that's Liège. Oh, okay, it is right. I found a map of Belgium showing its provinces. Anyway, back to the thing. Dutroux later reported.
The village of Obey.
Yeah, I looked at that. Dutroux later reported to have been abused by his mother and father.
Oh, well, that's all right then.
Citation.
That excuses everything after that, then, doesn't it?
You remember how I said? Actually, no, it wasn't in regard to Joseph Fritzl.
Yeah.
I saw this. Okay, so look, it's going to be a hard episode today, and I apologise for like all the. We're going to do a few diversions, and one of them is because I saw something that really upset me a few weeks ago, and that is. I didn't see, you don't actually see it in the video, but it's this report of a baby that's been attacked by rats. Mother nowhere to be seen. Father probably busy getting high in another room, just ignoring the sounds of their child screaming in agony as it's being attacked repeatedly and bitten over 50 times by rats. Lost the use of its left arm, and the paramedic was very pessimistic. It's like that child's dying. It survived, and mother been. By the way, in the report, sort of happy ending. Mother's been sentenced to 6 years for child neglect. Father sentenced to 9 years for child neglect because it's not the first time this has happened. That's what's so disturbing about it. And the reason I bring up this story is right. That child. Look, I'm not casting any. Am I casting aspersions? Let me think if I'm casting aspersions. That child is.
I mean, how old is the child? Because the child's only like months old at the most, isn't it? So arguably the child could be able to bounce back from this, given the right family, if it's raised in the right family.
I don't think so. You see, I'm not as optimistic as you are. I'm sorry. I'm just, it's a horrible, sad situation. It's like you end up with monsters like Joseph Fritzl after a horrible trauma like this, and I'm just sort of saying, like, it's horrible, and the children, it's not fair on them. They never really stood a chance.
Mm.
And I feel so sorry for them. And I feel so sorry for that child. And I'm not saying it's fair, and I'm not saying the child should be put down. I'm just saying that child's life is fucked before it began. So anyway, yeah, Dutroux was abused by his mother and father. So, oh, well, that
Well, that's the
excuses everything
report.
else
But
he did.
it comes from him, so I don't think is he the most reliable of narrators. Because it does say later reported to have been abused, so I don't know whether it could just be an excuse, couldn't it?
Well, it is an excuse. Um, in 1972, Dutroux's parents separated and his father left the family home. Shortly after graduating from school, Dutroux left home himself and made his living as an electrician. Oh, another Joseph Fritzl. Don't trust electricians, they're messed up people. Several years later, in 1976, Dutroux married François Dubois. That is a girl's name, I assume.
And it rhymes.
With who?
Francois Dubois.
Well, the reason I say I presume it's a woman. They had 2 children together. The marriage was well, you see, that's the thing. There's a lot. There's a lot of these French names. To me, they sound like masculine
Michelle,
names.
Michelle.
Yeah, yeah. What can you do, eh? What can you do?
Yeah.
What you can do is carry on reading what's going on here. The marriage was marred by Dutroux's abusive behaviour towards his family. The couple would divorce in 1983, with Francois keeping custody of the children. Do you want to do the early criminal activity?
So his early criminal activity. So this is his early days. During the late 1970s, Dutroux found new employment as a scrap
Not
dealer.
happy days.
As a scrap dealer.
Oh, he's stepdad's son.
Yeah.
Well,
they say scrap dealer. It was he supplemented his income by stealing car parts. Some might say stealing car parts. Other people might call him a scrap dealer.
He's just an enterprising entrepreneur that's being entrepreneurial.
Belgians have no word for entrepreneur.
That is true. Do you remember that scene in Short Circuit where they convinced the robot to help them break into cars so they could replace all the radios because, like, all these people are mad that their radios are so bad, so they got to get them all out. And then this afternoon they're totally going to come back and put the new radios in.
Yeah.
So Johnny Five's like, yeah, I can help you break into all these cars and get these radios out.
Yeah.
I'm helping. I'm Johnny Five. I'm alive.
Yeah. I'm Keir Starmer.
Do you remember? Do you remember in Johnny Five where they were like, "Oh no, let's not get an Indian to play this Indian. Let's get Stephen Fisher.
Let's get a Jewish man to do it instead."
Yes.
Al Jolson was Jewish as well. What is it about Jewish men like and enjoying blackface?
Hey, do you remember how Stephen Fisher also did brownface for Romancing the Stone? It's like, oh, you did so well with. Yes, I'm pretty sure Stephen Fisher is both in Short Circuit 2, and Romancing the Stone.
Okay.
Do you remember Danny DeVito's in that film?
Anyway, let's talk about someone who hasn't got brown face. Mark Dutroux.
Do you remember, like, any detail that's not this story we're covering on our show?
Look,
hey, audience!
This is the fun stuff.
Yeah.
We haven't got into the bad stuff yet, Hobbit. Like, if you're stalling now, before we even get to the bad stuff.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Everyone knows I really love doing true crime.
You've run out of stuff to stall about, Hobbit, if you do it all now.
I tell you what, I can filibuster and tangent like a pro. Grief. God rest his soul. He did unfortunately die from AIDS a few years ago. He did say, if there's one thing Hobbit's good at, it's the ability to stall and procrastinate. I miss Grief, but it's a shame about the anal fisting and the monkeypox and the AIDS.
Yeah, mostly over there. From
Yeah.
1979 onward, he was convicted for a variety of petty offences, including assault, drug dealing, trading stolen vehicles. Of course, not doing any real time during any of it. This is the thing that comes up and up and up. It's like, why is this man not doing some serious time? Meanwhile, he regularly visited ice skating rinks in Charleroi, Forest. You're gonna have to do that one, I bet.
Yeah. So just Charleroi means Charles the King.
Yeah.
So we'll have a look here. Charleroi skating rink, Forest, and Montigny-sur-Sambre.
Yeah. Where he would deliberately trip or bump into young female skaters in order to touch them.
Oh yeah, the old oops.
Kick the legs out from under him to give him a grope.
Sweep the leg. Sweep the leg.
Sweep the leg, yeah. In October 1980, Dutroux visited a Charleroi, is it a bit?
Charles the King.
Yeah. Skating rink and got into a physical altercation with another patron, Armand de Bain. After repeatedly colliding with Bain's girlfriend.
It would be extremely painful for you, de Bain.
For you. I was born in the skating rink. Oh dear. A court case ended with Debain being convicted of assault and battery against Dutroux, although Dutroux was banned from Charleroi skating rink. One of his mistresses was Michelle Martin, who he later married, and with whom he had 3 more children, and they lived happily
Not to be confused with Michael Barrymore, because his name is Michael Martin.
Yeah. Well, it's
yes.
Michelle. It's Michelle as in bird's name.
Yes, not to be confused with Michael, which is not something I just did repeatedly.
On the 14th of December 1985, Dutroux abducted Axel D. Well, he could have abducted Axl Rose and given him loads of pies. you enjoyed the fight of Axl Rose recently, didn't you, of it?
Guts and samosas.
Tons and tons of roses.
Guts of Cadbury's roses. Do you know what? That's funny, actually. Have you ever seen Metalocalypse? There's this bit in it where, like, the drummer Pickles, he's in this band, and it's called Snakes and Ladders, and it's like 75% different Guns N' Roses.
Yeah. And
all of his band members, they're no longer doing drugs, and they've all recovered, but they're now all fat, and so they get incredibly fat after the recovery.
So anyway, Axel F. No, that's Eddie Murphy. During her testimony, she told the police that Dutroux's accomplice, Petegem, had told her that he was part of a gang led by 2 gang leaders, an Italian and a crazy stupid one. A
crazy frog.
Yeah. Admitted to having taken part in the abduction. He said he had abducted Axel F. with Marc Dutroux and Michelle Martin. He had lived with Dutroux after being discharged from the military.
And here's a crazy rapist frog. Guys, I'll be doing these distractions all night. You're most welcome.
Petegem. Can we just call him Pettigrew instead? Better than Petegem. Told police that his and Dutroux's first victims were 2 girls from Molenwells. That sounds very German, Hobbit.
So Molenwells. Let's have a look where we are. From Molenwells. It's a municipality of Wallonia located in the province. Do bear in mind.
It was German, doesn't it, with the Z on the end?
Bear in mind that Belgium was part of Prussia at one point. That's why one of the official languages, even though hardly anybody speaks it today, is German. None of my relatives speak German.
Petegem told police that him and Dutroux's first victims were 2 girls from Molenwells. These 2 victims were never located by police. On the 7th of June 1985, the first proven abduction by the 2 took place, the abduction of 11-year-old Sylvie D. On 17th of October 1985, the pair abducted Maria V.
I'm assuming that their names are protected,
Yeah.
hid them
No,
to
it's
protect
just
their.
their first first abduction was Sylvie D. Oh right, so June Sylvie D, 17th of October Maria V. From Perron Les Banches.
Yeah,
Binch.
yeah.
Binch, that's a word, isn't it?
Bash.
That means by.
Yeah, well, it is bash.
Yeah, is it
The
Perron's by the something?
Perrones by the something, by the something, by
Yeah,
the Perrones, thoughts the world go by.
you know the
Brr, brr,
Perrones,
brr,
the Perrones by the
brr, brr,
Binch.
brr.
Maria
They
V.
watch music, watch Perrones go by.
Da, 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 da,
Eye
da,
to eye.
Maria V also identified a third man who took part in her abduction and appeared to be in his 50s. The man was never found by police, and that man was
Jimmy
Savile,
Savile.
probably. On the 17th of January 1986, Catherine B, aged 18, was abducted from Obey in Hainaut province. Dutroux, unfortunately, she was from the Hainaut province. Dutroux had one or two accomplices in her abduction who were never found by police. Pettigem was stationed as army personnel in Germany during that time and could not have assisted Dutroux. On the 18th of September 1985, Dutroux, he's a fucking busy boy, isn't he? Abducted Elizabeth.
He gets around.
Round, he gets around. In Pont-à-Celle. I don't think that's right.
Yep.
Pettigem.
Point of sale.
Point of
Just
sale.
anglicise these names, yeah.
Point of sale. Pettigem told police that Dutroux filmed Elizabeth naked. How do you pronounce that with an accent over the E on Elizabeth?
Right. So Dutroux accomplices during time. Point of sales. Point of sales.
Yeah.
You know what? I don't actually know. I'm sorry.
So we'll just carry
Even
on
I'm
with
so.
Elizabeth.
Just call her Elizabeth. That's her English name.
Yeah, he filmed her naked and took pictures of her. At the beginning of February, Martin, Dutroux, and Pettigem were arrested. This had to a large extent been due to Pettigem giving out a lot of information about himself with the conversation with the girls. So trappy, Pettigem, useless trappy, which had been enough for police to identify.
He's just bragging to the girls. I've met a lot of girls in my time.
I like abducting kids quite a lot. Here's my address. You got my phone number?
I murder them. Yeah, here's my email address. and here's my office hours. If you want it, if I'm not at home.
But I'm an early adopter.
Yeah, I'm on DARPANET.
DARPANET. The three, he probably was actually. This is probably some government shit, isn't it? The three were eventually convicted on the 26th of April 1989. Dutroux received 13.5 years. Pettigem received 6.5 years, and Martin received 5 years. Woman privilege again. Dutroux received a harsher sentence because he had also committed several robberies with Pettigem. Dutroux was thus additionally convicted for the brutal robbery of a 58-year-old woman. The robbery was also committed with accomplices. One of these accomplices in the robbery was also never found by police. The early release of Dutroux was granted by Melchior Waffelet.
Melchior. Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting name.
Is a Belgian politician, a member of the Humanist Democratic Centre, who served as the 4th Minister President of Wallonia. He has degrees in law and in some other stuff. Dutroux's release.
I'm just wondering what sort of name is Weffel. I'm not going to cast aspersion. Not going to cast aspersions. I don't know.
Very biblical name.
Yeah.
Dutroux's release was ordered against the advice of both the public prosecutor and the psychiatrist who had examined him in prison, who stated that Dutroux remained extremely dangerous. But Melchior gone, nah, he's a good lad. I've spoke to him. Nah, he'll be all right.
Look, He's just an innocent choir boy from Abergavenny, which is part of the Hainaut-Provence.
Yeah. Granting Dutroux state assistance, sleeping pills, and sedatives. While in jail, Dutroux managed to convince a health professional that he was disabled due to mental illnesses. That way, he was able to collect public assistance consisting of $1,200 a month from the Belgian government. He also convinced the professionals that he needed sedatives for sleeping problems. Dutroux later went on to use them to sedate his victims.
Wow!
Wow.
Who could have foreseen this happening? Certainly not me.
He's got either won the luck of the devil or he has some pictures of people. Answers on a postcard, kids.
And this is the other bit I'm saying, and it's a bit sad, right?
Yeah.
Some Belgians, they're a little bit trusting. Not all of them. Some of them a little bit too trusting, and they'll let people get away with literal murder of children. And it's sad, and I don't approve of it. I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm just saying it's well, I mean, it's sad, isn't it?
So Dutroux went so he owned 7 small houses, most of them vacant, and used 3 of them to torture the girls he kidnapped. Obviously, he's been in prison for fucking 5 odd years, and these houses have still been paid for. How? Why? Does anybody know?
Well, just goodness of the Belgian public, maintenance fund.
Although he owned several houses, his state assistance stipend was not reduced. In his residence in Marcinelle, he constructed a concealed dungeon in the basement. Dungeon gang. Dutroux.
What is it about electricians and making sex dungeons to torture women in?
I don't have a sex dungeon.
Oh, you're admitting to being an electrician. Oh.
Dutroux.
Clemmy, I think you need to sort of.
I'm going to get thrown out of the league of. The League of Electricians, aren't I? If I don't build a sex.
I was going to say, do you need to sort of specify now that the sort of electrician stuff you do is not the sort of electrician stuff that Joseph Fritzl and Mark Dutroux did?
It's not basement dungeon stuff.
You don't sell dungeons and dungeon-based accessories, is what you're trying to get at.
Dutroux has been described by psychiatrists who examined him for trial as a psychopath. So this is the man. That's the lad. He's a good lad. Let him out now.
It's a psychopath, like the psychologist's way of saying they're evil, but we're not allowed to say that because
we can't say he's evil, but this is as close as.
Yeah.
He's got 2 choices. He can either be owner of Microsoft or he's going to murder kids. There are your two. There are your 2 career paths when you.
I mean, the case of Bill Gates allegedly. Why not both?
Yeah.
Allegedly.
I don't know.
Allegedly.
I don't know. He don't look the sort of lad who's going to make himself a dungeon, is he? Oh, a waffle waffle apparently. Is this true?
Yeah, except the problem is you're sort of mixing Dutch and French there. I don't know what the Dutch is
for Euro trash.
Nil point.
Yeah. And that child grew up to become Ratman. Wouldn't be surprised.
We were talking about
degrees in uni these days. Happy cheery Thursday to everyone says living the dream.
Oh, I don't know what that could mean.
Yeah, he's like, here we go, another fun episode. It's
another fun episode full of whimsy. You see, this is what happens when we try to cover Woodwoses. We end up doing true crime.
Yeah.
This is how the Woodwoses punish us.
On the 24th of June 1995, 8-year-old classmates Julie Lejeune, something like that, and Melissa Russo were kidnapped after going for a walk in Grace Hollogne, probably by Dutroux, and taken to his house in Marcinelle. Dutroux kept them in prison in the dungeon he'd created, repeatedly you're supposed to say essay, aren't you? Repeatedly essayed them and produced CP videos of the abuse. What a wonderful young man.
can't believe he got them to write essays. You need to write an essay on how this sexual abuse negatively affects you
Yeah.
in a market economy.
2 months later, in the early hours of the 23rd of August in Ostend, Dutroux and accomplice Michelle Lilyliver kidnapped Anne Marshall. What? An indefinite article. Anne Marshall. Have you ever seen Anne spelled A-N, Hobbit?
Well, now I have.
So he kidnapped Anne Marshall. Shouldn't that be A Marshall? Anne Marshall and F.G. Lambrex. Efg.
Yeah.
Efja. I
don't know,
like
mate.
that. Two
sorry,
teenage girls from Hasselt who are on their way back to their holiday home in West End. Down the West End, mate. Down the West End. Were they down the West End?
Not to be confused with the Ostend.
Not to be confused with the West End in London. Following a night out in Blankenberge. Big party town, is it, Blankenberge, Robert?
I don't know it. Sorry, mate.
Blankenberge
These names sound double Dutch to me.
Is a seaside municipality and city in the Belgian province of West Flanders. Oh, it's the other lot, isn't it? Flanders is the other lot.
Yeah.
That's not your lot, is it?
That's it. That's the Dutch side, or Flemish, as they call it.
Yeah. Blankenberge proper and the settlement of Uitkerk. With Jejune and Rousseau already in the dungeon, Lambrex and Marshall were kept in chains in a bedroom. Oh no, they were queuing.
Hey, did you remember when? Do you remember when the former president of the United States, Joseph Robinette Biden, did that hit gangster rap song, Back in Chains?
Yeah.
I remember that song. I believe it's what the youth call fire.
A banger. In September, according to Martin, Lambrex and Marshall were drugged and brought to Jumet, where Dutroux and accomplice Bernard Weinstein killed them by burying them alive. Lovely. What a wonderful way to go.
What a wonderful way to go.
Around the time of Lambrex and Marshall's death, Weinstein and a man named Philippe Divers stole a van and hid it in a hangar. After it was found there by the hangar's owner, it was taken away by the police. Dutroux and Weinstein suspected that Divers and his friend Pierre Rochelle had betrayed them, and on the night of 4th of November, wishing to interrogate them about the van, Dutroux and Weinstein lured Divers and Rochelle into the Weinstein's home in Jumet, drugged and sequestered them. Sequestered?
Yeah, they've been sequestered away.
I don't know, it just doesn't seem like the right word.
They've been sequestered.
Yeah, isn't that like? Aren't there forms involved in sequestering someone?
I just trying to think of like some Chicago gangster saying, "Yeah, he's been sequestered." Yeah.
Oh yeah. We're gonna sequester him and torture him.
He's been sequestered with the fishes, if you know what I mean.
I don't know. I think it's just an unusual use of sequestered. Before leaving to go to
it is, isn't it?
It is a really weird use of sequestered.
It's like there's certain words where only like police and the professional services use it, like
style jacket, which is a bomber jacket,
or they'll say things like seconded or probate.
Yes. Before leaving to go to Rochelle's house to search for clues about the van, where they found Rochelle's girlfriend Benedicte Jadot, who they took back with them back to Jumet and questions before leaving again to pick up another person. Fucking hell, this had been murder on their fucking petrol bill. Good job they were thieving all the money, weren't it? Well, they were just be murder.
That's all right. You probably
filling the car up all the time, wouldn't they?
Well, no. What he did is he kept a mileage log of all the rapes and murders. What he did, and the Belgian government subsidises it.
Does it? Did he?
You're allowed to
sequestering.
You're allowed to do. Well, you're allowed to do up to, I think it's 6,000 kilometres a year for rapes and sequesterings.
Jadot escaped and alerted a neighbour who called the police. With Weinstein wanted by the police, Dutroux decided to kill him to prevent his capture. Look, Weinstein, it's been emotional. You've been a good friend, but you know, you're causing a right load of old stress and grief, so I'm gonna bump you off, son. He kidnapped Weinstein and held him in the dungeon at his house at Marcinelle between the 13th and 20th of November. During this time, he let Jejune and Rousseau roam freely around the house. After feeding him food laced with Rohypnol, Dutroux placed hose clamps around Weinstein's testicles until Jubilee clips around your testicles, I bet.
Yeah.
That's not going to be fun, is it?
Look, I mean, I can say some people are into that, but that just sounds like a bit too much testicle torsion.
Yeah.
No, testicle compression.
Yeah. I just don't fancy the Jubilee clips on the testicles. Around Weinstein's testicles until Weinstein told him where his money was hidden. Dutroux then buried Weinstein alive on Dutroux's property. Kind of, isn't that... He who lives by the buried alive dies by the buried alive. Sars-la-Boissière. On 6th of December 1995, Dutroux, having been recognised by Rochelle, was arrested for vehicle theft. Okay, then. So that's it. Like, he's murdered people.
All right.
Clamped their testicles, and he's going to get done for vehicle theft. According to Dutroux and Martin...
It's the vehicle theft that always gets them in the end.
Yeah. According to Dutroux and Martin, Legéjune and Rousseau were still alive in the house at the time of Dutroux's arrest in December 1995, and Dutroux had ordered Martin to leave new food and water for the girls in the dungeon each time they ran out. Martin neglected to feed them, later claiming she was too afraid to go into the dungeon. Legéjune and Rousseau eventually starved to death.
Typical excuse. I'm just going to say that she was just lazy. Just couldn't be asked.
Yeah, can't be asked. You got to feed.
I was going to do
if
it.
You're going to have prisoners in your basement dungeon. You got to fucking feed them, haven't you?
I mean, Joseph Fritzl, monster that he may. Joseph Fritzl, monster he may have been. I won't argue with that.
He always fed his
At least,
didn't he?
Yeah. Come on, Belgium. When you're making the Germans seem more hospitable than you are.
3 dinners down there a night, and I'm just so hungry, love. I just can't. 3 dinners. Yeah, I'm starving. In some ways, this is worse than Joseph Fritzl, isn't it? Yeah, a lot worse, isn't it? Dutroux initially stated that they were still alive when he returned home following his release from prison on 20th of March 1996. According to him, Legéjune died that day. Rousseau followed suit 4 days later, despite his efforts to save her, which was probably like bumming her or something. I don't know. Can you imagine what Dutroux's efforts to save a bird from dying are?
It's like the kiss of life, except this time it's the bumming of life.
Yeah. During his trial, he said they were already dead when he returned from prison. An expert asserted that
it's all right,
been
then.
able to survive the entire time Dutroux was in prison on the total amount of food and water they were said to have been given. Dutroux buried Legéjune and Rousseau's bodies in the garden of his house, his own in Sars-la-Boissière, near to that of Weinstein. Fucking hell, his garden was more full than Fred West's, weren't it?
Yeah.
On the morning of 28th of May 1996, Dutroux and Lily Liver kidnapped 12-year-old Sabine Dardenne, who was cycling to school in Tournai. Oh, you know how to pronounce that one, don't you?
Yes, it's Tournai.
Tournai.
They you see, the French and the Belgians that speak French are very fond of using these rolling R's.
Yeah.
A bit like the Scots. They like doing that too.
In a book originally...
Oh, yeah, the Welsh do that too, don't they? Welsh are weird.
Originally published under the title J'avais... Oh, fuck. What's do's? 12? Is that 12 do's?
12 do's and don'ts for burying a victim.
No, it's 12 do's in French.
Douze, yeah.
Yeah. J'avais 12 ans, j'ai pris mon vélo et je suis parti à l'école.
Hang on. You're saying... Donde está de biblioteca?
People can remind me they go the house.
in a book originally published under the title J'avais 12 ans, j'avais pris mon vélo et je suis parti à l'école. Which I was 12 years old. I took my bicycle and I parted for school.
Wow, that is
I
a
left for
snappy
school.
that is a snappy book title, isn't it?
It's you know it loses something in translation. One could say.
Is that quite powerful in the original French? Then is it, Hobbit?
I read
I went to school on me bike.
I read J'avais 12 ans in the original French.
So it was published in the United Kingdom under the title "I Choose to Live." That's a lot better.
That's very different. I think you're missing something of the Belgian spirit with that.
So what is so I was 12. So what does Premon mean? Took my.
J'ai pris mon. I took my.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm 12. I took my bike, and I am leaving for school.
I left. I left for school. Yeah.
That is some book title. Yeah.
Oh, it's a classic.
It tells you all about her struggle, really, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Dardenne described. She's not burying the lead with that one, is she? Dardenne described her time in captivity in Dutroux's Marcinelle home, where she spent most of the time imprisoned in the dungeon and was starved and repeatedly graped, as I believe they say.
Grape on the first fucking date. Grape.
The first dungeon. On the 9th of August 1996, Dutroux and Lily Lever kidnapped 14-year-old.
I think now's a good time to mention here at Fortean Words we do not condone essays. We don't condone unalivings, nor do we condone grape drink at all. Well, actually, I kind of do.
Or what about we're not really fans of underground dungeons.
I'm not fan of underground dungeons. I'm not a fan of what electricians like. The hobbies of electricians, I don't endorse that. Some electricians are okay, but we need to stop these electricians until we can figure what the hell's going wrong.
So kidnapped 14-year-old Letitia Delhez as she was walking home from a local swimming pool in Bertrix. Is that Bertrix?
That's yeah, but also Delhaize is like a famous supermarket brand. It's like their equivalent of Sainsbury's or something.
Oh, that's a bit weird, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, actually, no. Delhaize is a bit more upmarket. It's probably like a Waitrose.
An eyewitness, Benoit Tinant. That's not a real person's name, is it, Hobbit?
Unfortunately, in Belgium, these are considered real names by real people.
I'm sure these are all Ripperverse characters, because they do sound like it. Who greatly helped the search and thus Dutroux' arrest, observed Dutroux' van, described it, and was able to identify part of the license plate. On 13th of August 1996, Dutroux, Martin, and Lily Lever were arrested. An initial search of Dutroux' houses proved inconclusive.
All right.
I'll read that again. An initial search of Dutroux' houses proved inconclusive. Is there a rape dungeon here? I don't know, mate. Basically, but 2 days.
Oh well, we've done our job. Time to move on then.
We had a look round.
Yeah.
We had a look through the letterbox. What more do you want? But 2 days later, Dutroux and Lily Lever both made confessions. That same day, Dutroux led the police to the basement dungeon. Fancy giving away your basement dungeon? Isn't a man's basement dungeon his castle?
I don't remember that song by Basement Jaxx.
Basement Dungeon.
And the music keeps on playing on and on.
It's a catastrophe. Don't worry, don't panic. Inside which Dardenne and Delhez were in prison. The girls were subsequently rescued. On the 17th of August 1996, Dutroux led police to his house in Sars-la-Buissière. With his help, they were able to locate and exhume the bodies of Lejeune, Rousseau and Weinstein. On 3rd of September, the remains of Marshall and Lambrex were located and exhumed in Jumet. Hundreds of commercial adult pornographic videos, along with a large number of homemade sex films that Dutroux had made with Martin, were recovered from his pro. I hope she was fit, because I really, imagine being a copper where you got to sit through like his filthy own movies. I dread to
I'm
think
sure.
what he gets up to with his missus, considering his basement dungeon fetish.
I'm sure they had very sore hands at the end of this probing investigation.
Errors during investigation. That's what they were, Hobbit. They were just errors. Just errors. That's all they were.
Just errors, just errors. That's what it is.
The police and their
Just
errors.
making a few errors.
Making a few errors. Not catching criminals.
The police, they go around, they make a few errors. The police.
Interdimensional Lizard said she's giving away the whole story in the title. Might as well include "And I Was Kidnapped."
It's one of those titles where you know how sometimes you read something and you go, I wonder what that's about. There's no ambiguity with this. You know what it's
about. You're looking for a book. It's summer. You want a nice, happy-go-lucky book about a girl that goes to school and gets involved in an adventure, and then you read that.
Oh, what you're on about? I mean, this book's got it all. Like, I don't see what you're talking about. Like
grapes and
it's got
underground dungeons.
I know what the English title of it should be now. The Grapes of Wrath.
the Grapes of Dutroux. Maybe that's what we should call the episode instead.
Oh, I kind of like our title. Dutroux Crime Podcast.
Heavy criticism was levelled against the police for their handling of the case. Well, I don't know. I thought they did what they could. In 1995, Dutroux's mother wrote a letter to authorities saying she knew that Dutroux had kidnapped 2 girls and was keeping them at his house. Isn't she like about 5 years too late about this?
Well, mistakes were made, moving on, etc., etc.
After Lejeune and Rousseau were kidnapped in 1995, it took police 14 months to arrest Dutroux. You can't rush these investigations, can you? Every T's got to be crossed, every I's got to be dotted.
Yeah.
Although he had been a prime suspect from the start, having committed similar crimes before. Well, you can't profile people, can you? That's bad.
Why would you want to do that? No, profiling people. That's oh god! Don't judge a book by its cover, especially if the book cover says "Je suis 12 ans, j'ai pris mon vélo, j'étais allé à l'école, et aide."
Yeah. During the search for Lejeune and Rousseau, police visited Dutroux's house, where Lejeune and Rousseau were held twice on the 13th and 9th of December without finding them. Mistakes were made. Errors. It was just an error.
That's
just an error, bro.
Just a couple of errors. It's all right, just errors were made.
Oh, Hobbit, no. I didn't cover the error. The error is, during the course of the searches, girls' voices were heard while searching the cellar, but police did not follow up to find the source of the voices.
Why would you want to do that?
Dunno. Detectives accepted Dutroux's claim that the ongoing construction in his house was for a new drainage system rather than for the new cells he was creating. Several videotapes were found during the search but were never looked at. Some of them showed Dutroux constructing the dungeon in which Lejeune and Rousseau were held. Michael Borley, who was appointed lead investigator, said that some of the videotapes...
Not to be confused with Michael Bublé.
Yeah, Michael Borley. Which is what Mr. Weinstein had. Said that some of the videotapes had disappeared and he wanted to have them all recovered and reviewed. The officer conducting the search was later promoted. Fucking hell. Oh, just covering themselves in glory, aren't they, the Belgian police? In October 1996, Judge Mark Connerot was removed from the investigation by the Supreme Court due to concerns about his impartiality after he attended a fundraising dinner for the victims' families. Another judge, Jean-Claude Van Espen, resigned after his close relationship with Michel Nihoul came to light. I don't know whether you know, guys, but Michel Nihoul is one of Dutroux's accomplices.
No, you do.
Yeah. On the 23rd of April 1998, Dutroux was allowed to view his case files. He was accompanied by 2 police officers. When one officer went on a break, Dutroux overpowered the other officer and was able to escape. He was captured a few hours later. The Minister of Justice, Stefan de Klerk, well, we all know what he is, don't we, Hobbit?
He's a clerk.
He's one of them Dutch fellas, isn't he? The Minister of the Interior, Johan van der Lanot. Here we go, Dutch conspiracy now, Hobbit. And the police chief resigned as a result. In 2000, Dutroux received a 5-year life sentence. 5-year life sentence. In 2000, Dutroux received a 5-year sentence for threatening a police officer during his escape. In 2002, he received another 5-year sentence for unrelated crimes. What the fuck does unrelated crimes mean?
It's a crime what's not related to the thing what you done did.
There were countless hairs found in the dungeon where the two girls were held. Judge Langlois refused to have them tested for DNA evidence, even though the leading police investigator, Michel Borlet, had begged him to have them analysed in order to know whether more people besides Dutroux were involved. Nah, mate. You don't need to do that. Nah, mate.
Trust me, it's fine.
What are you thinking? Cock up or cover up? Hobbit.
I'm actually not sure either way. I'm sorry that's a bit of a cop-out.
Yeah.
But I really, really don't know.
It is a tough one. These people really actually could be all Joey Deacons, couldn't they?
People laugh and joke at the incompetence of the Belgians, and I think this is one of the reasons why they're doing it. But I'm going to say it is both incompetence and it's incompetence, yes, and it's also evil. Both. These things aren't mutually exclusive.
So you think you think Dutroux had some people that were malicious?
I'm saying he was Belgium's equivalent of Jimmy Savile. Yeah.
General prosecutor, because he also has links to that castle we're probably going to talk about at the end if we have time. The general prosecutor of the case, Anne Thilly, told investigative journalist Olenka Frenkel that hairs had been tested, although Frenkel claimed to have heard from sources saying otherwise, writing, "How can a senior figure lie so brazenly?" Fucking hell, dear. At least 7 members of law enforcement were arrested on suspicion of having ties to Marc Dutroux. One of them was Georges Zico, a police detective believed to be an associate of Dutroux. According to the prosecutor, Michael Borley, Zico was charged with truck theft, document forgery, and insurance fraud. It's funny how they get him on the vehicle theft part of it, not the noncing part of it.
Well, what's more of a bigger priority?
Eventually, several families of victims boycotted the official trial, stating it was a circus and there had been no progress in the case since the removal of Judge Connerot. The investigation was also complicated by the rivalry between different law enforcement bodies, both the gendarmerie. So you have the gendarmerie in Brussels.
Yeah, they've got armored police. They've got armed police.
Armored police. What, you're a RoboCop? Belgian RoboCop going around. So you got? Oh,
can you imagine Jean-Claude Van?
Judicial police. Are the judicial police like the plainclothes or the FBI or what?
The judicial. I mean, they did that. That's probably just sort of like standard police.
Yeah,
they're not special. Yeah. I'm just trying to think of like Jean-Claude Van Damme as RoboCop, but he's in the mean streets of Charleroi instead.
Turning a blind eye. Literally, his cameras go off every time he looks at Marc Dutroux. Like Directive 4. Directive 4 just kicks in.
Directive 4, protect OCP his staff.
Yeah. In particular, the gendarmerie refused to share tip-offs and information with the judicial police. Most notably, one from an informer named Dutroux as a suspect, and even described a hidden space that Dutroux had constructed in the basement of one of the houses he owned. Oh, so it's worse than cock up or conspiracy. It's dickheadedness as well.
There's just like a lot of egos here, it seems to me,
Yeah.
and they're all sort of competing to be like, who's the biggest knobhead?
Belgian Senator Anne-Marie Lizin commented on the case, saying stupidity by the police can't be the only explanation. It's a question of stupidity, incompetence and corruption. Dutroux must be a friend of somebody important, or else he was being protected, because he was known to be a police informant. Lizin said Dutroux was not a true paedophile, as he had been portrayed. He had a record of dealing in stolen cars, selling arms to hoodlums, and trafficking in prostitution. When he discovered that men paid a lot more for little girls than for prostitution, he started kidnapping them, she said. But then again, a lot of them were found, though, weren't they? So it's hard to say.
So, in other words, he's a nonce of opportunity. Is that the right word?
He's kidnapping and selling nobody to no one. When Dutroux was finally arrested, police found in his house videos of films of him raping little girls.
Are you trying to tell me that Ghislaine Maxwell wasn't the first individual person,
Yeah,
to be convicted of trafficking nobody to no one?
Yeah, exactly. Raping. So they said he did this so he could sell the film.
Oh, speaking of bizarre names, right? Just a brief aside, right? So, Ghislaine Maxwell, an unusual name. I won't know why you would want to call your daughter Ghislaine Maxwell, right? There was another name
you don't just name yourself for the job you want.
Well, maybe that's part of it. I couldn't say. But the other part of it, which I thought was rather unusual, was there was this guy, right? And I'm right. No guesses, no prizes for guessing where this individual may hail from. But his name is Viol Shlomo. And it was like he was being interviewed on Haaretz.
Yeah.
About something, and they just put his name up there, Viol Shlomo.
Yeah. So, attempts to have access to the Dutroux dossier from WikiLeaks. Is WikiLeaks dead now, is it? Or is it still alive?
I don't know. Don't know.
So, in 2009, WikiLeaks published the Dutroux dossier. Belgian authorities tried to have the dossier taken down. The Prosecutor General of Liège, Cedric Vissart de Boccarme, said there is some true, some false, some very disparate information here involving some people who've done nothing wrong, who have simply been mentioned in an investigation and are thus exposed to public contempt. Whereas all this material should have remained classified. Well, of course it should. You don't want any names getting out.
Oh, what, like the Dunblane massacre? All of that should remain classified.
Yeah.
Yeah, isn't it interesting? They say stuff like that.
17-month inquiry by Parliamentary Commission into the Dutroux affair produced a report in February 1998, which concluded that while Dutroux did not have accomplices in high positions in the police. Wow, isn't that just good that the police have declared themselves a clean bill of health?
We've investigated ourselves and found we are innocent of any wrongdoing. Yes. Oh, well, that's a relief.
As he continued to claim, he profited from corruption, sloppiness, and it's just the incompetence. That's all it is of it.
That's it. Yeah, it's just incompetence. Nothing to see here.
Mark Verwilgen, the
moving
chairman
on.
of the inquiry, sharply criticised every aspect of the investigation. In October 1996, more than 300,000 Belgians marched through the streets of Brussels after Judge Marc Connerot was removed from the case. He was removed for attending a fundraiser dinner for the families of the victims, which the court system claimed damaged his impartiality. They demanded an investigation and reform of the police and justice system. The protest was called the White March. Protesters were wearing signs that said "Stop the cover-up." To protest the prospect of a conditional release of Dutroux, a Black March was organised on the 23rd anniversary of the White March. The calls to take part in the march were made after it was made public that a court had approved the request for the conditional release of Michel Lillieliver, who was accomplice of Dutroux and had received a 25-year sentence. The Guardian reported in 2004 that the entire credibility and current reformist government of Guy Verhofstadt, surely not Guy Verhofstadt of all people, and Belgium's very reputation as a normal civilised country is on the line. I didn't know he was. He was president of Belgium then? Was he?
Oh yeah, well he's got to be. I mean, he's one of those. I mean, apart from Maggie de Bleek, he's one of the few Belgian politicians that's known outside of Belgium.
I like it when they call them things like
But,
policy wonks. Don't you? I love the name wonk.
yeah.
The crimes of Mark Dutroux. Go on.
I was just going to say, maybe this accounts for why Belgium keeps having those things where nobody forms a parliament, because just the confidence that the Belgians have in their politicians is that low.
Well, when you got people like Guy Verhofstadt, you can kind of understand it, can't you?
Oh, but so I mean, they called him Honest Guy.
The crimes of Mark Dutroux were covered in multiple non-fiction documentaries, one of the earliest being a British public access TV documentary called Witness, The Lost Children, Channel 4, 1999, directed by Helen Hill, which narrated by Stephen Rashbrook and featured interviews with multiple family members of the victims, as well as with Claude Thirault, next door neighbour of Dutroux, who would later become a police informant after raising suspicions about Dutroux's activities, which had included watching small children from the street and also being caught digging up underwater tanks in an old basement, creating a space where Thirault complained that Dutroux had planned to use for hiding children in. An episode of Crimes That Shook the World titled Monster of Belgium, which is Season 2, Episode 9, April 2009, was later aired on the Discovery Channel, bringing North American attention to the Belgian case. It says the Belgium case, but it'd be the Belgian case, wouldn't it? So,
Yeah.
So old Marky Boy's trial. Mark Dutroux began trial on March 1st of March 2004, some 7.5 years after his initial time arrest. He'll be all right for time served then, won't he?
I suppose so.
Did they do the double thing? Blimey, the nose on his missus. Should I?
You're saying it's a big old sniffer, is it?
Yeah, it's a big old sniffer. Should I put the picture up of the defendants?
Yes, the bit, the better to sniff out a good bargain.
Yeah. What do you think to the honker on that then? I bet.
Let's have a look. What does Dom mean with his latest comment? If Viol fucked someone, they'd end up with a Biffy Clyro.
Biffy Clyro band. Oh, if Viol Shlomo fucked someone, they'd end up with a Biffy Clyro. Biffy Clyro's a band.
Yeah.
They're a pop group of it.
I don't get it.
I think he's just being funny.
Yeah, but hey, that's a very funny joke, Dom. Why don't you come up and tell it to the rest of the class?
Dutroux's trial began on the 1st of March 2004, so 7.5 years after that. It was a trial by jury, and up to 450 people were called upon to testify. The trial took place in... Is that Arlon, Hobbit?
Let's have a look at this word.
Province of Luxembourg. What?
Trial.
What's the Belgian province of Luxembourg?
Oh, so right, in Belgium, next to Luxembourg, there's a province called Luxembourg, which is also known as Belgium Luxembourg or West Luxembourg.
Yeah.
So it's part of Belgium. It's not part of Luxembourg, but it's called Luxembourg. Just to confuse anybody there.
I'm going to Luxembourg. I'm looking for so-and-so street in Luxembourg. Yeah, straight on, pal.
My aunt works in Luxembourg and she lives in France. I'm going to say, is that Luxembourg, Belgium, or Luxembourg in Luxembourg?
So, when the investigation started...
Do you want me to read some of these names?
Go on then.
Where the investigation...
trial then, Hobbit.
Dutroux was tried for the murders of Anne Marshall, so just Anne Marshall.
No, you...
Ifje, that's some sort of Dutch name, I don't know how to pronounce it. Ifje Lambrechts and Bernard Weinstein. Dutroux was also charged with a host of...
I think that's how you're supposed to say that.
No, but this would have been Belgium, so it would have been Bernard Weinstein. Dutroux was also charged with a host of other crimes: auto theft, abduction, attempted murder, and attempted abduction, molestation, and three unrelated rapes of women from Slovakia. But we don't really count that because the Slovakians aren't real people.
What is the crime of molestation?
Molestation is when you put your hand down someone's mimsy and they say, "Oh, I don't like that."
Touch a molestation.
Yeah, if you touch somebody on the mole station, you are a mole stationer.
Yeah.
Martin was tried as an accomplice, as were Lefebvre and Michel
You
Nerol.
don't know how to say that one either, do you, Hobbit? It looks like
No,
Leoliver. It really does look like
yeah, it
Leoliver,
is.
doesn't it?
To protect the accused, they were made to sit in a glass cage during the trial. In the first week of the trial, photos.
Innocent, not the accused.
Well, there's this idea that people are supposed to spend time in prison, not just be killed there and then, because apparently that's more just. I don't know.
Well, you know,
That's what I've been.
You get organisations like the ADL form if people have to do their own justice, though, don't you?
Well, the AGL comes after people do their own justice.
Some says meaning Biffy Clyro sounds like an STD.
I'm sorry, you've got Biffy Clyro. Here's some penicillin. I'll come back in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
In the first week of the trial, photos of Dutroux's face were not allowed to be printed in Belgian newspapers for privacy reasons. This ban remained in force until the 9th of March. Don't break the cable. In a rare move, the jury at the Assises trial.
Oh, so that's newspaper talk, isn't it?
The Court of Assize.
Yeah, because
Court of Assizes is the trial court which tries.
Wasn't the Court of Assizes what they used to do before they burnt a witch?
Right. So, a couple of things. Right. There is like an assizement is like a thing of a put it for that because there's a hamlet I know of called Field Assarts. Yeah. And what it is when like a sheriff has asserted a bit of land. They're saying that's the land that you can farm. But assizement is the Court of Assizes, is the trial court in which tries the most serious crimes in the judicial system in Belgium. It's the highest Belgian court. So in the rare move, the jury at the Assizes trial, so it's the equivalent of the Crown Court, publicly protested
I think it's like an old. So there you go. So the trial of the Pendle Witches. You heard of the Pendle Witches?
No.
I might do an episode. So they were done at the Lancaster Assizes.
Mm.
So there's another one from the Chelmsford Assizes. So I don't know whether I think it's like an old English term as well.
Yeah, because it comes from Old French.
Yeah.
So anyway, Belgian Crown Court. It was quite notorious. They did a public protest of the judge because
public protest.
They did publicly protested the presiding judge, Stephen Gouk's handling of the debates and the victims' testimonies. On the 14th of June 2004, after 3 months of trial.
Oh, fucking hell,
weird.
I've just read that. The jury publicly protesting. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So, 2004, I was playing Command and Conquer Generals back then. It's funny, actually. The guy I did the SSD for, he was talking about playing Generals, and he plays it with his mate, and I said, oh, good on you, I enjoyed that game. After 3 months of trial, the jury went into seclusion to reach their verdicts on Dutroux at the time and the three other accused. Verdicts were returned on the 17th of June 2004 after 3 days of deliberation. Dutroux, Martin, and Lefebvre were found. It's Belgium Covfefe. It's Lefebvre. Were found guilty on all charges, and the jury are unable to reach a verdict on Nihol's role. Dutroux's testimony. Dutroux claimed that he was a low dog in a powerful paedophile network. He further claimed that to me that actually sounds quite probable. Right,
like the cock up or coincidence stuff kind of really makes you think that like he was a small cog in something else, wasn't he?
to me, it sounds like this guy was he just yeah
It
God,
does
getting
kind of
a
speak to his
headache.
psychopathy though, doesn't it? Like he's gone from like car parts. Like if I sell a catalytic converter, I get 250 francs or whatever. Or like if I sell a girl, I get 1,000. Like if
Yeah.
he was psychopathic, that would be like, oh, so I'll kidnap the girl then.
Well, I think he was. I genuinely, but look, I'm looking at this guy and I'm thinking he's literally just sort of done a cost benefit analysis, like a lot of
Yeah,
psychopaths do, and they go, you know what, the benefits of child trafficking
yeah.
outweigh the risks. I'm gonna
Only that
do that from now on.
CP, making CP makes good money, so I'll make some CP. Like it just kind of,
Yeah,
it does seem very psychopathic type behavior, doesn't it?
yeah, yeah. And I'd say this guy, is a psychopath.
Mm.
I mean, that's what the psychiatrist said as well. So
I think
I'm
if
not the
you're
first
making
person.
CP, there's a very good chance you're also selling CP, isn't there?
Well, yeah. Yeah, I mean, well, this guy was definitely doing it for commercial gain, wasn't he?
Yeah,
He
yeah.
wasn't doing it for other things. So, uh, right, right.
Dom
So
says
anyway,
Michelle Martin looks like a budget Barbara Streisand.
while admitting some abductions, he denied being a murderer, although he had earlier confessed to killing Weinstein. He said that he did torture and abuse all of the girls, but denied killing any
Is
of
he
them
doing that?
until the very end.
Well, actually, they were alive when I buried them. Is he well
Uh,
actually in it?
they were alive
Actually, I
when
didn't murder them.
their heads were separated from their spines.
No, when he buried them alive, didn't he? So he didn't. Yeah,
Yeah,
actually, I
well,
didn't
they
kill
were.
anyone.
Yeah, they were alive until they were buried.
Yeah,
Simple as.
yeah.
Um. Oh, this is lovely
Yeah,
material.
yeah,
I'm,
yeah.
I'm
It's
so glad
gorgeous, isn't
we're
it?
doing this.
Yeah.
But anyway, Dutroux denied further kidnapping, raping, and murdering in Julie Lejeune and Melissa Rousseau. He either admitted to incarcerating all three. He admitted to incarcerating them at one of his houses. Why can't I read today? In the
This
case
is
of
also like classic psychopathy, isn't it? Where you admit to everything up to the murder, don't you?
In the case of Lejeune and Rousseau, Dutroux also claimed that he had protected them from a powerful and sinister child sex ring.
Oh,
His
for fuck's.
testimony that he never raped Lejeune and Rousseau was somewhat supported by examinations by psychiatrists in 1996, which stated that Dutroux did not fit the paedophile profile. He was not attracted to children, but he might have chosen to abduct younger victims because they were easier to manipulate and control. Dutroux admitted to the abduction and rape of other girls. He also admitted to burying his accomplice Bernard Weinstein alive for letting the girls die.
Oh, what a humanitarian Dutroux is in the Hobbit. He didn't like the fact
So
that Weinstein had let the girls die.
a psychopath with a morality system.
I don't think,
Okay, look,
I don't think so. I think
I
he may have murdered Bernard for something else. Well, if you remember that bit, Bernard was bringing down heat on him, wasn't he? Like that's what he killed. That's what he killed Bernard for.
but I mean, I'm almost willing to give him the benefit of the doubt. I don't know why, but him sort of being adamant and saying, "Oh yeah, I tortured and I abused them, but I never killed them," and then Bernard let them die,
I don't
and then him
know.
being angry.
I
Well,
don't
no,
know.
hear me out, right? I'm
Go
not.
on then.
Hear me out. I'm not. I'm playing devil's advocate, but what I'm
Yeah.
trying to say is it's actually worse. I'm saying that he wanted to keep the victims alive as long as possible.
Or
He
sell
didn't
them on
want
or
them to
whatever.
die
Yeah.
out. Yeah, he didn't
It
want them
cost
to
him money.
die.
Yeah, it cost him money. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. It's just like you've. Well, I mean, someone could say, well, you've damaged the goods as well.
Mm.
But in this case, it's like, well, look, I can't sell corpses,
Yeah.
Bernard. Um, right. So, Peter, yes, right. So, uh, he was not attracted to children, but he might have chosen to adopt young. We said this bit.
Yeah.
Um,
Dutroux further said.
okay.
That's what you're looking for.
Dutroux further said that the two unidentified policemen had taken part with him in the kidnapping of Anne Marchal and F.G. Lambrex. He boasted about having built the dungeon in which Marchal and Lambrex were held for a while. He said, I wanted to create a hiding place to spare them from being sent to a prostitution ring. Dutroux
But then
admitted to
isn't he
rape.
kind of isn't he backdoor admitting that he was selling them to a prostitution ring? This is a really weird thing to say, isn't it?
He's telling a lot whilst this stuff's going on. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this means that there is a prostitution ring going on. Dutroux
That
admitted
he
to
is
raping
selling kids
Lambert.
to. Or is he
Yeah.
saying that Weinstein? So who is? So he's saying I
Well,
wanted to
this
spare
Curry
them from
Reid.
being sent to a prostitution. So who is giving them to the prostitution ring then?
Well, let's read on a bit, shall we?
Yeah.
Let's just let me finish this real ball ache of a thing because it's horrible, right? He said, I wanted to create a hiding space. He said that. Dutroux admitted to raping Lambrex. He said that Weinstein had raped Marshall. He also admitted to drugging both of them. Dutroux also admitted that he kidnapped Sabine Dardenne and raped her. He admitted to kidnapping and raping Letitia Deleuze, but not handing him over to Nihol to spare them the fate of Anne and FG. Dutroux's lawyer, Xavier Magny, repeatedly said that prostitution never followed up on. Why is it not going page down?
Xavier Magny, renegade lawyer.
Yeah. Built the dungeon, prostitution. So, Peter said the prosecution never followed up on evidence of a network signing Dutroux. Yeah, that actually is a very good point, and I would say this is something.
Again, this is shades of Ghislaine and Weinstein, isn't it?
Like, one of the things which David Icke and others sort of pointed out, saying, yeah, Jimmy Savile was a monster, but who was funding him, and who was Jimmy Savile working for? Because Jimmy Savile was a fixer. Jimmy Savile was the sort of person, like, if you wanted a boy or a girl to rape and abuse, Jim would fix it for you.
Yeah.
That was his game.
Well, have you heard what they're saying about the because the Epstein documents are apparently all at the FBI headquarters, and Pam Bondi's going through it, and they think that Pam. And I saw a thing where they said that they reckon Pam.
Oh, she's covering up for them.
Pam Bondi and Trump have gone through it and they've gone, fuck. We literally can't release this. We can't do it. I don't know for what reason, or is it that many?
So it's a cover up,
or what? So yeah.
So it's a cover up.
They are going to cover it. I think they're going to cover it over because I think it goes too deep and too long.
Just like the Dunblane thing, like Dr. David Kelly. These things have just got to be covered up. The public never need to know. That's all it is.
We wouldn't need to know that. Literally the whole of the American government are involved in some shape and form with Harvey Weinstein. Not Harvey Weinstein, the other one, Epstein.
Epstein, Weinstein, one or the other. Anyway, do you want to do the next bit?
Michelle Martin's testimony. Martin testified that Dutroux and Weinstein kidnapped Lejeune and Rousseau. She also said Dutroux had told her that he had murdered Weinstein. Martin further said that Dutroux and Weinstein had killed Marshall and Lambrex. She further testified that Lejeune and Rousseau starved to death in the basement in 1996 while Dutroux was in jail. She claims that she was too scared to descend into the basement. Martin said that Dutroux had already decided to abduct girls in 1985. He had said that it was easier to abduct and rape girls than start affairs with them. This way he'd also have more resources and time to spend on her. So she had to help him with the abductions.
Yeah, it wasn't her choice. She had to help.
Look.
She couldn't go to the police and...
Look, if you don't help me out with this, you're going to have weird sex with me.
Oh, well, if there's a choice between having... There's a choice between having sex with my husband or kidnapping girls that he could torture and kill. Well, I think I made the right choice.
Well, you've got a choice. Mark just goes, Michelle, look, you've got a choice. Either I rape and torture you, or I rape and torture somebody else. Now, which of those choices do you want to go for? Of course, she had no agency in any of it.
Oh no, she's just like Mara Hendley in all of this.
No,
she's just, I'm just a poor innocent woman. I'm just a dumb woman. I don't know what's going on. I messed around. I'm just like Joseph Fritzl's wife, Rosemarie. I had no idea what was going on.
Yeah.
Oh, that. Oh, did he do bad things to them? Oh no, I never knew that. Oh, that's terrible. Wow. This is how women talk.
Mm. So sentencing. The death penalty was abolished in Belgium in 1996. The last execution for common law crimes was in 1918. However, the majority of Belgians at the time of the trial would have
Said, "Oh,
supported.
go on,
God, just
go on,
once.
just this once. You know,
Yeah, yeah,
let's have an encore for the death penalty."
yeah. On the 22nd of June 2004, Dutroux received the maximum sentence of life imprisonment, while Martin received 30 years, thank God. Lily Level 25 years. The jury was asked to go back into conclusion to decide whether or not Nihal was an accomplice. 23rd of June, Dutroux lodged an appeal against his sentence. Obviously, it was too short. You know, he was just a humanitarian saving these girls that he was raping from being raped.
Look, if a man can't rape a girl in Belgium, then what's the fucking point in our country?
I thought this was a free country.
I thought this was Belgium.
I thought this was Belgium. Although Nihal was acquitted of kidnapping and conspiracy charges, he was convicted on drug-related charges, sentenced to 5 years imprisonment. Nihal was released on the spring of 2006. He resided in Zeebrugge until his death on 23rd of
Zeebrugge?
October 2019, not 2099.
I was disgusted at one of the hosts yawning at the sentencing in this very serious thing. They did not treat the subject matter with the seriousness that it deserved.
Is Zeebrugge a fate worse than death, Hobbit?
I don't know.
So, 19th of August 2012, about 2,000 people in Brussels demonstrated against Martin's possible early release from prison. She's since been paroled 16 years into her 25-year sentence and was released into the care of Poor Clares in Milan. She was given shelter.
Oh, she's learned a lesson, hasn't she? You know,
Yeah.
she made a mistake.
She's done most of her sentence, hasn't she? She didn't have nothing to do. She didn't know what was going on.
She's just a poor innocent woman. She don't know what's going on.
Yeah. The sisters have declared that they were not her guardian, and shelter was given under the condition she would not violate the condition of her parole. As the convent has since been sold, she has had to find new shelter or go back to prison. A former judge has created an apartment in his converted farmhouse where she now lives.
Oh, well, that's all right then.
Yeah. On the 4th of February 2013, Dutroux requested to the court in Brussels for an early release in prison. He insisted, "I'm no longer dangerous," and wanted to be released.
Look, if she gets let out, I need to be let out as well.
On 18th of February, the court denied his request. Dutroux is currently being held in solitary confinement in the prison of Nivelles. In October 2019, Dutroux won the pre-parole right to a psychiatric assessment, which was supposed to take place in May 2020, but was delayed due to COVID-19. So COVID-19, not all bad.
Silver lining.
Yeah. That's the runners and riders. So Michel Nihal was a businessman known to frequently attend sex parties. He was accused of being the brains behind the child kidnapping and abuse operation around Dutroux. Nihal's lawyer in the case, Frederic Clement de Cletty. How many names?
Easy for you to say.
Yeah.
All of them.
Denied all charges made against Nihal by Dutroux and called him a liar and a manipulator. When the investigative journalist Olenka Frenkiel met Nihal in Brussels, he reportedly greeted him with words, "I am the monster of Belgium." He told her that he was certain. He told her that he was certain that he would never be prosecuted even.
Never be prostituted ever again.
Yeah. During the encounter, he grabbed her, tickled her, and pulled her onto him so that she called for her colleagues to help get away from him. Obviously proving he's not a nonce. obviously trying to prove that he's not a strokey nonce. Frenkiel was working on a documentary on the case for BBC. In 2004, at the end of the Dutroux case trial, he was released of all charges of child abduction. In May 2010, the Belgian prosecutor's office dropped all the charges against Nihal, relating to participation in a paedophile ring in the absence of any tangible evidence. Oopsie!
Oh, we couldn't find any evidence about that.
How about this little fact then, Hobbit? The Dutroux case is so infamous that between 1996 and 1998, over a third of Belgians with the surname Dutroux applied for a surname change.
Yeah, I haven't really met any Dutroux since this heinous act happened.
You'll meet a third less of them than you would have done normally.
I was going to say it's a bit like the name Aldolf.
Yeah,
Aldolf. Yeah, there's not many Hitlers around. Aldolf has fallen out of favour.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes things just they stop being fashionable for whatever reason, and who's to say why?
Yeah. Allegations of wider involvement. Belief in a paedophile network, which included high-ranking members of the Belgian establishment and a conspiracy to keep it hidden, became widespread in Belgium. Press reports claim that prior to his removal, Connerotte was on the verge of publicly disclosing the names of high-level government officials who had been recognised on videotapes. What a fucking surprise. Hey, Hobbit?
I can't believe somebody would cast such aspersions.
Connerotte had said that the businessman Michel Nihoul was the brains behind the Troll kidnapping operation and would testify on the trial there had been high-level murder plots to stop his investigation. Investigators also believe that Dutroux and Nihoul were planning on a long-distance prostitution trafficking network involving cars and the import of girls from Slovakia, although no evidence of this was ever uncovered. Dutroux and his fellow accused supported the conspiracy narrative. Michael Lillyliver, the accomplice of Marc Dutroux, said that two girls, Lejeune and Rousseau, were kidnapped as an order by a third party. However, while under arrest, Lillyliver stopped cooperating with the authorities. He told police that he'd been threatened and could not risk saying any more. Dutroux's lawyer, Xavier Magny, said during the trial proceedings, "I speak not only as a lawyer, but also as a citizen and a father. He was not the only devil. Out of the 6,000 hair samples that were found in the basement cellar where some of the victims were held, 25 unknown DNA profiles were discovered." So that's out of 6,000, only 25. Out of 6,000 hair samples, so you don't know how many individual people that is, though, do you? There were 25 unknown DNA profiles were discovered. There were people in that cellar that are not now accused. The prosecution never attempted to match those DNA profiles to people implicated in the case. So focus was looks like this will take us up to time a bit. Focus was also placed on the material wealth of Dutroux, who owned 10 houses, and he was just a electrician as well. He is in total worth 6 million Belgian francs.
I guess you just electricians pays well in Belgium. That's
Good money,
if yeah.
Well, that and the $1,200 a month he was getting from the Belgian government.
You can buy a lot of houses for like 1,200 spaccabennies a month.
Hobbit, his property portfolio is worth 6 million Belgian francs. That is a US $130,000. What's happened to the Belgian franc, Hobbit? It's fact, mate.
Well, yeah, but in euros, that's worth like 200,000.
No, because that's Belgian francs. Like the Belgian franc's gone by the wayside, isn't it? It's now the euro, isn't it?
Yeah, Belgian francs. We stopped using
so this
that.
Has to be 2000. When did that go?
I think it was 30 years ago. When did Belgium switch to the euro?
Yeah. Oh, 2002.
1st of January 1999.
Oh, it says
Euro came in existence.
The Belgian franc was the 1832 till 2002 when the euro was introduced.
Yeah, so here's the thing, right? The euro came out in 1999, but you could still use your local currency until the official switch over.
Oh, okay then. So this is so
you know how we got
currency portfolio was probably in the so this when this was written in the 2000s or something.
Well, it's like, you know how we got currency with the Queen's head on it? It's
Mm,
still legal tender. It's just that the Bank of England won't publish any more of it, so you'll get the King's head after a while.
yeah. While he had all of his wealth in property, he also received public assistance of 1,200 a month, which I just said. Documents released by WikiLeaks show that large sums of money in different currencies arrived in Michelle Martin's bank account and claimed to be linked in time to the disappearances of abducted girls. Both the transfers and the value of the 6 properties that Dutroux. So there is some circumstantial evidence, even though the law are telling you
Look,
that
something
there's
about
nothing
this
to see
doesn't add
here.
up, does it? Yeah. Not everything in this case is adding up.
Yeah,
And
both
something's fishy, and it's not just the, Belgium frites and chips.
both the transfers and the value of the 6 properties that Dutroux owned suggested to investigators he was financed by a larger paedophile and prostitution ring. The Flemish newspaper Nieuwsblad,
Yeah.
Newsblad, innit?
Newsblad.
Newsblad.
That's it,
Do you want
bud.
the Newsblad?
Yeah, Newsblad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Blad. Wagwam.
We reported that he committed health insurance fund fraud, theft, insurance fraud, and investments on the stock market, and these had
Fund
contributed
fraud.
to his wealth. He's just a really good investor, bro. That's all he is. Just a good
Yeah.
investor. He was
Yeah,
just,
that's it.
Nancy Pelosi used to give him stock tips.
That's where he got it from.
An undated letter was found in a house belonging to Bernard Weinstein, mentioning a gift for the high priestess. The note was signed Anubis. A member of the Abraxas cult in Charleroi used the same alias. Have you ever heard of the Abraxas cult, Hobbit?
No, I haven't, and I get a feeling I don't want to know about
I
it.
think we may well be going further into the into the rabbit hole next week, but we'll see what we find out about the Abraxas cult. Unless you wanted something a bit lighter next week.
Well, if I can think of saying next week, I might find
we had like horrifically inbred last week, and we've had this week. So good. I think we
well,
could do with something a bit lighter.
well, we might find some interesting alien story next week. It depends what happens. I mean, a lot happens in a week.
Yeah. Use the same alias, leading police to conduct a raid on the cult headquarters by 150 officers, taking away much of the cult's paraphernalia. Love the word paraphernalia. That is a completely like police word, isn't it? Like drug paraphernalia.
Yeah, and Brexity paraphernalia. That's another one they like. Looks very Brexity. This bookshelf.
Yeah. No connection to Dutroux was uncovered in the raid, and no evidence that Weinstein had been a Satanist or connected to the cult emerged. Some more suspicious minds might say that they got rid of any evidence linking them to that.
We can't keep carrying on with these suspicious minds.
Yeah. Stories of human sacrifices and trafficking by the cult were likewise never substantiated.
Yeah.
Much attention was given to the so-called X-Files. So what does so-called mean? That means actually it is.
Yes.
Interviews with witnesses who had answered Judge Connor Ott's appeal to come forward. Witness X1, Regina Loof, told... That's not very... Why are they giving...
Was she aloof from all of this?
She wasn't a Loof, she was Regina Loof. Told of parties organised by Nihul that included forced prostitution and murder. She also claimed to have... That's not forced prostitution. You can't force prostitution, can you?
Wait, are you saying the prostitution was forced or it was false?
No, forced prostitution.
Well, yeah, I mean, like...
What? Do you rape them and then give them money after? What is forced prostitution?
I think it's prostitution where the woman doesn't want to be a prostitute, but it's like, well, it's going to happen anyway.
Yeah. She's also claimed to have been present at several unsolved murders of girls in the 1980s and pointed to Dutroux and Nihul as culprits. The interviews were led by Officer DeBeats. Is that DeBeats by Dre? Who came under criticism for leading the witness. In one case, Loof pointed out the wrong photo of a murder victim was noted as correct identification, since Loof had exhibited a non-verbal reaction to the correct photo. Another identified victim was later determined to have been killed by an unrelated individual. De Beets and his team were removed from the case, and the prosecutors dismissed Louf's statements. In 1997, De Beets was charged with falsifying the statements of Louf and got a pat on the back by the people he was covering up for. But was no, he wasn't. He was exonerated from the charges in 1999. So good job, De Beets. He did what he was supposed to do. Other ex-witnesses recounted incidences where children were chased through the woods by Dobermans, or told of gatherings that involved sex orgies with minors, torture, murder, and a Secretary General of NATO present. I hope they saluted.
So just your standard, it's your standard globalist party. Just doing normal globalist things.
Well, our Prime Minister says he'd rather be at Davos than Westminster, doesn't he?
Did he? Oh, I didn't know he said that.
Yeah, he said. They said, "Where would you rather be, Davos or Westminster?" He said, "Oh, Davos."
Sausages.
Yeah. Three
He's quite fond of
journalists
sausages.
later wrote a book called "The X-Files: What Belgium Was Not Supposed to Know About the Dutroux Affair." Worst X-Files episode ever. That claimed that the ex-witnesses were much more believable than stated by the media. Nah, hold on 1 minute. What? The media would fudge the story, Hobbit.
I find that hard to believe.
Very hard to believe. But it also stated there have been substantial efforts by the magistrates and senior police officials to demolish the testimony of the ex-witnesses. Now, why would they do that?
Touch me.
Journalist Olenka Frenkiel claims that more than 20 potential witnesses in the case have died in mysterious circumstances. Well, just the more people you know, the more people die, as Hillary would say.
I mean, these things happen, don't they?
Yeah, accidents will happen. Frenkiel cites Bruno Tagliaferro as an example, who was found dead after claiming to have knowledge of the abduction vehicle used by Dutroux. Although Tagliaferro's cause of death was ruled as a heart attack, American analysts later determined that he'd been poisoned. Frenkel's article alleges that Tagliaferro's wife, Fabienne Japart, was determined to find her husband, Cleela, was reportedly found dead as well after her mattress had been set on fire. How do we sleep when our beds are burning?
Willy bum bum.
Marc Dutroux. We don't need to go through the list of victims, do we, and what happened to him?
No.
You can get. It's abducted, raped, drugged and raped, chained and raped. That's pretty much
The grapes of wrath in this one. The
grapes. Of
there's a lot of them.
Marc Dutroux. I do hope Marc Dutroux suffers from horrific bum grapes for the rest of his life, and I mean actual bum grapes. Piles. That's what he deserves for the rest of his life.
Some people may disagree with this, but what if they're just like, oh look, we can't judge you, right? We're very progressive and liberal.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do is we're going to give you a court-ordered unaliving ceremony where you get to meet God, and God will judge you.
Yes.
Because we say it's not humane for a human to judge you for this crime, so God can do it.
Right.
But then the problem with that, I think, is that they got a lot of these guys, they don't believe in God, so we're like, nah, we are the ultimate authority. There is no God. It's just us. We are God.
Good Lord, there's loads more of this chronology of the case as well. Don't know if we'll go through that. Dutroux's houses. Now, who would live in a house like this? The house on the Avenue de Philippeville in 128 in Marcinelle. I take it they do street then number in Belgium.
Right. So the number first is like the zip code, and then when I've done addresses to places in Belgium and France, I'll put the number and then the street name.
Oh, so they're just being poncy then, are they?
Wait, what are you looking at? What's this thing?
Dutroux's houses. You can do
Dutroux house. Dutroux's. Oh, if I type in houses.
It's one of the things down the side. You can literally click on it.
All right. Okay, so if I go all the way to the top, I don't have. Oh yeah, because Wikipedia's. Oh yeah, I have to make trial. Confirmed victims. Dutroux's houses.
Yeah.
Mug Dutroux owned 7 houses, 4 of which he used for his kidnappings. The house on Avenue de Philippeville 128. Well, okay, in Marcinelle is the most often cited in the media. All victims were held captive
give
here.
The number of the house anyway, would they? So that's got to be. Is that some sort of road name then, or something? The 128.
I think it's. What happens if I type in that name? Avenue de Philippe.
Ville.
128.
Yeah.
And then I'll put it on. No, I don't want to search along the routes. I don't want directions. Just type it. Angel Philip, not Charleroi.
Marc Dutroux's gaff. That's what you would put in there,
Marcinelle, Charleroi.
Yeah.
And right, so that have I actually been there? Oh no, I'm thinking of Liège.
Have they put that number in there because it's now it got bulldozed and turned into a garden? Is that why they're not telling you the number of it?
Right, so that address literally points to a railways. But there are some houses along the rails, so that could be it as well.
Well, that one got bulldozed, and now it's a commemorative garden.
Well, let's see. That's 134, and then what's this number here? That's 130. So 100. Yeah, I think it's just.
Garden?
I think that is a commemorative garden. Yeah, it's a garden on the corner, which. Yeah, that makes. Oh, what it's called Jardin Memorial. Memorial Garden between the sky, between the earth and the sky. Ooh. Not called the R. Fred West lived here garden.
The Dutroux Memorial Garden. They didn't call it that.
Yeah. No, they wouldn't call it that. All victims held captive in the basement bedroom. The municipality of Charleroi seized ownership of the house because of what happened there and the bad state of the house. There are plans to create an open space for the memorial site here. Well, they've done that. In the Belgian procedure of compulsory purchase, an owner has last right to visit a house. Therefore, Dutroux visited his house on 10th September 2009 under heavy police guard.
That's weird.
Demolition of the house.
That's a weird thing to put in there, that you have the last right to visit the house.
That's Belgian law. Yeah. You got the right to visit it one last time before they knock it down.
Yeah.
So the commemorative garden has been built in its place. A house in Jumette, or is that Jumelle? That looks like a T. That has since been demolished. The remains of Anne Marchand and Edgy Lafbix were found buried in the garden of this house. Bernard Weinstein lived in this house for a while. A small monument was placed at this location. A house in Marchienne-au-Pont. Julie Lejeune and Melissa Rousseau were held captive a short while after the kidnapping. A house in Sars-la-Brusserie. The bodies of Lejeune, Rousseau, and Weinstein were found buried in the garden. Brussière, oh yeah, Sars-la-Brusserie. Brought by the municipality of Blobs in the first months of 2009, it's planned to make a park with a monument commemorating Dutroux's victims here.
Ooh.
And there's some memorials in the wall opposite the house in Marcinelle, location of the house of Dutroux and Jumelle, house owned by Dutroux in Marchienne-au-Pont. Yeah, so these things do get some coverage.
So that's the
lovely man. I really feel happy that we've covered this story, and I won't get nightmares. And if I do get nightmares, then skill issue, I guess.
Yeah.
Yep. Skill issue.
Yeah. Don't go. If you are gonna have a nightmare, don't have a nightmare. Should we do some?
If you are thinking of how, I would love to do some unexplained mysteries. Oh, can I tell you one about? Can I tell you the one about the dolphins doing a wee and then the other dolphins come and swim up and sniff it?
Yeah, I know the one about the dolphins where they get baby porpoises and they flick them to each other and they impale them on their snouts for fun.
Yeah, they get high. Well, so you know, like a lot of animals, like dogs and cats, and they got sensitive noses, and they like sniffing each other's wee because they're sickos like that, and they get off on it. They're into
A
piss
dolphin's
play,
German,
animals.
but
Yes, they are, but also dogs because they sniff each other's assholes.
yeah, what is,
And
if dogs can smell way better than I can, why do they have to stick their nose right up the other dog's ass?
I mean, a dog's so sensitive that they can be trained to like sniff like minute traces of cocaine or cannabis on somebody's body and indicate to it. And they've even been trained to like detect minute traces of cancer in someone's breath, and they'll indicate to people like, "Oh yeah, this person's got cancer." So they'll do all that stuff because why not? LOL. And what do dogs do with their super sensitive sense of smell? Sniff each other's arseholes. Right on the arsehole. They just get
They
right
flick the
up in there
nose
and they give it a
right
good
up
old
there.
right up there, give it a good old sniff. That's what it do. So anyway, there's this river dolphin in the Amazon or something, and what the males do is they swim on the surface of the river, and then they have a wee, and then other male dolphins come around and they have a sniff of it and go, "Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, you had a wee, you did. Yeah, that's a wee. That's really interesting." And the marine biologists, the ones that couldn't get a job doing shark science, were like, "Well, we don't know why they're sniffing each other's wee, but we suspect it's something to do with mating. Yes, because
I
I
suspect
like it
they are.
when
I suspect they're German.
because when my wife's boyfriend does a wee on me, it's something to do with mating. Yes." That's from the University of Manchester or wherever. I don't know who was doing this. They couldn't get the sweet shark science gib, so they just did dolphin weeing science instead. Oh, and here's another thing, right? Lots of animals, like fish and stuff, they sniff each other's wee. The females sniff like male wee to sort of have it tell if they're going to be compatible. And one of the things one of the things I thought was interesting in this, one of the things which might be said to be interesting in this is that, um, so yeah, the fish smooth, right? Lobsters. Do you know where they wee from?
Don't know.
They're small nozzles, just underneath their eyes, where they do a wee from. Lobsters wee from their eyes.
Oh.
There you
I don't,
go. Dirty,
despite today's
disgusting
festival, I'd hate to be
lobsters.
stuck behind one in a cinema. Do you remember that one? Do you remember that one when River says that aliens probably wee out the top of their heads?
Well, in the case of these lobsters, yes, absolutely,
Holy
yeah.
shit! How about this geezer from Australia who's got some fucked up problem where he feels cold instead of heat and heat instead of cold?
Uh, that does that lead to like hypothermia or something, where he's just like, "Oh, guys, I'm really hot. I'm really hot today." It's like, no, guy, it's cold. You're feeling cold.
Yeah, so
Oh,
before long, McManus found he would
Struth.
experience a burning sensation in his hands when picking up something cold, like a can of drink from the fridge, and a freezing sensation when handling anything hot. This unfortunate malady also means that he has to be careful not to burn himself when picking up something scalding hot. As to him, it simply feels cold, like handling an ice cube. So imagine that, like there's a scalding hot fucking pan, and you pick it up, and it just feels like an ice cube.
Yeah.
That's going to
Well,
cause some
Struth,
serious
mate.
fucking issues, isn't it?
Oh, fucking Struth. Fucking oath.
Fucking blimey.
Struth. Put. Oh, stone the crows.
Hey,
Put a shrimp on
he's
the barbie.
seen God sent a plague onto the Mormons.
Oh, what's happened to the Mormons?
I'll put an explained histories in there. You can read it if you want.
Oh yeah,
Crickets have descended on Utah. Plague
Mormon
of locusts,
crickets.
mate.
Right. So if I type Mormons,
It's on the
insect
it's on the front page of
invasion.
news. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got it here. Right. TK Randall. I hate crickets.
Oh,
Local farmers and
you hate
businesses have
TK
been
Randall as
badly.
well. He's a dickhead, isn't he?
TK Randall is
You will not
no Will
appreciate him.
Greenlee. No, no, he's not as good as Will Greenlee. Will Greenlee is the true creme de la creme of journalists.
Yeah.
So
I thought that was Kurt
let's read a bit
Eichenwald.
about. Well, that's when you want to know about tentacle porn.
Tentacle porn, a game the whole family can play.
Especially if it's Kirk Eichenwald's family.
Yeah. Just sit down with
Interesting
your
name,
missus.
Kirk Eichenwald.
Yeah.
Well, sit down with your son and your daughter, and it's like, let's have a look at some family-friendly tentacle porn
Yeah.
together as a family, because that's what Kirk Eichenwald's family does. Is they sit round the computer and they have a look at some tentacle porn.
I'm pretty sure instead of my missus going, if I said, "Hey, did you know there's such a thing as tentacle porn?" I'm pretty sure my missus, instead of going, "I had no idea that even exists. Should we sit down and watch them together?" I'm pretty sure my missus would go, "Yeah, that's fine, thank you. I don't want to watch it."
That's disgusting.
Yeah, whatever that is, keep it away.
I don't want to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, Kirk Eichelwald's family's like, oh, I don't believe you. And Kirk's like that. Well, let me show you then, son. Let me educate you on this thing here. Yeah, so we're gonna learn something today. I think we're gonna learn a valuable lesson. Yeah, that's Kirk Eichenwald, everybody. That's what he does. TK Randall was once invited around Kirk Eichenwald's place, but I don't know what happened. Anyone with particular fear or distaste of large insects might want to leave Fillmore, Thule, and other parts of
thing, isn't it?
It's why I've scrolled down so I don't have to look at the image.
So you have to look
or some other unpronounceable Utah names which don't really exist.
Yeah.
At least for a while. And why should it be at least for a while? Well, read on, dear listener, and you will find out. Motorists, known as Mormon crickets, these highly problematic pests cause headaches not only for local residents, business sports and farmers, owing to their penchant for feasting on crops.
Don't forget to get high, kids, when you're looking at your crickets.
You know, when you go to mom and town, you gotta get a little bit high. Yeah. Gotta go to mom and town, have some mama cricket.
I'm seeing big ugly crickets everywhere. That's how high I am.
Oh God, you guys, you don't know how high I am. Towley, you're the worst character ever. I totally know that.
Towley's absolutely not a retooled Mr. Hankey, is he?
He's not Mr. Hankey at all. He's 75% different. I miss, like, I was watching some old episode of South Park the other day. I was like, oh yeah, I remember Mr. Hat. Whatever happened to him?
Oh fuck, Mr. Hat. Yeah, I forgot about him. Isn't he in hell with the devil? Didn't the devil have?
But that wasn't there also another thing as well? They're like, oh well, we're not going to do Mr. Hat anymore. He's Mr. Head.
Do you not remember when he was Mr. Twig? When he lost Mr. Hat and he had Mr. Twig instead?
Yeah. Mr. Twig's just as good as Mr. Hat, and you take that whore's name out your mouth. I miss Mr. Hat. Frankly, Mr. Twig and Mr. Slave are just crap.
Yeah.
And now he doesn't even do teaching the kids anymore. You little bastards.
Yeah.
So motorists on the Interstate 15 found themselves driving straight through the huge swarms of critters, creating all like slicks of the remains that can in turn lead to accidents.
That'd be pretty nasty, wouldn't it? Like, your fucking car spins out. Would that be like, would the insurance company go, oh no, that's an act of God?
Insurance companies look for any excuse not to pay out, don't they? So your guess is as good as mine on that one, frankly.
Imagine that, you just fucking spinning out because you run over a load of fucking cricket.
Yeah, it's just like there's a slick here caused by cricket corpses.
So, in some areas, snow plows have been brought out to try and clear the massive piles of insect carcasses. So what are they doing, eating themselves to death then?
Trying to clear the massive pile of insects.
Such huge things.
Well, these creatures are quite ephemeral, aren't they? These insects, they don't live that long. You know, like Maybugs, they live for like what, 5 hours?
24 hours. It's one that's 24 hours, isn't that? That's the mayfly, isn't it?
Oh, that's it. Yeah. So they're not really long-lived, these creatures.
No, it's global.
That's
warming.
why you got
global warming's to blame, Hobbit. It's believed the
global warming, sick
dry winter coupled with the current mild weather is responsible for these. I can't believe that wide open. They could have gone. Yeah, it's global warming that caused this.
Well, oh yeah, but they don't like to call it global
Oh
warming
shit!
anymore,
You
don't
see
they?
this one? Video shows moment humanoid robot goes ballistic and attacks workers.
It's not the first time this has happened either.
Yeah.
You know, this has been known to happen in a number of places.
Yeah, but it's Chinese people. They were probably being cruel to it anyway, weren't they?
Well, you know, I've seen videos of people being cruel to robots, and it's just like, why are you being cruel to the robots?
So the video
Do you
shows
not watch?
the video shows two men working to activate a humanoid robot hanging next to them. When all of a sudden the contraption completely freaks out, starts flailing its arms wildly all over the place. The men can be seen struggling to get the machine back under control as it continues its epic tantrum.
Yeah, many cases.
Bunny. How close are we? Oh, we haven't read this one, Hobbit. How close are we being able to build a real life Robocop? How? What do you think, Hobbit?
I don't know. I don't know. You know, I was thinking about UFO stories. Can I read a UFO story? Do you want to do your one first? Right.
I was just going to talk about it. I can't bother to read all this. It's fucking super. So what do you think? What you know about technology? How close we are to? We're not even anywhere towards like keeping a human brain alive, are we? Taking the brain out of the body and keeping it alive. I don't think we can even do that bit, can we?
No, you can't. No. I'm sorry to be Snopes on this one, but that's out of our technology. We can't do that.
How about Robocop's actual body? I think we're a long way from that. Looking at the robots they're building.
Yeah, no, that's like, you know, a fantasy pipe dream. It's not real. It doesn't happen. Guys, magic's not real. There's nothing interesting happening in this world.
That could have a big gun in its leg that you can take out and spin around like that.
What, like in Johnny Turbo?
Yeah.
Have you played that game? It's really good.
What, Rogue City? Yeah, I love Rogue City.
Oh no, not Rogue City, which is also really good. No, there's a game called Johnny Turbo where you've got this chainsaw leg and you can do sliding tackles into people and disembowel them.
No, I haven't seen that.
Yeah, it's called Johnny Turbo. Great game, probably on sale. Really had a lot of fun with it. My only regret is I wish it could have been longer, or they made some sort of DLC for it, because really enjoyed that game.
It's still more in the medium to long term that I would expect to see many of the capabilities of a Robocop, including planted memories and built-in trained skills, supported with internet connectivity. We can also expect to see a high-speed communication between people via brain Bluetooth. That is fucking dystopian.
Unsubscribe.
Unsubscribe. $6 million man. They're not even anywhere near that. I mean, they'd have to be somewhere near building a Terminator.
But best I can do is.
What do you think is more possible?
Best I can do.
Go on then.
Best I can do is 6 million rupee man.
Yeah.
Powered by Windows 11.
Windows 95.
Windows 11 is. Windows 11 is the best operating system to come out of Bombay.
Yeah.
And between Robocop and Terminator,
which one do you think is more likely to come true, be possible first?
I reckon Robocop, because what it is, it's a life support system for the remains of a human.
Yeah.
Whereas a Terminator is like a completely new creature.
I think it'd be getting the flesh and muscle to grow on a metal skeleton that'd be the hard bit, wouldn't it?
I reckon that could be done. That's not an insurmountable challenge, but I reckon it's just you're talking about making a computer so advanced and then fitting all that machinery, like, you know, Robocop. Terminator's got that battery which lasts 130 years.
Yeah, that's nuclear, isn't it?
Hydrogen fuel cell, they said.
Oh, hydrogen fuel cell, is it?
Yeah, but hydrogen fuel cell last 130. I don't know, but either way, it's like
Yeah,
it's a big ask.
yeah,
Um, it is a lot. No, I just to me it seems like Robocop's more likely because that's you're building a life support system for a human, and it just to me, well, we kind of got life support systems for humans already.
yeah. But what? Yeah, but the real hard part is the life support system, and we haven't come anywhere close to like fixing someone's brain, have we? To connecting someone's brain up.
No, no. If it was like someone, the brain would have to be working to start off with. Otherwise, it's just none of this is going to work. No,
Yeah,
the person's brain has to be working.
yeah, and also
Yeah.
like, how do you stop it from doing what happens in RoboCop 2? You know, where they all fucking top themselves because they've just realised they're in this fucking horror body where they can never feel ever again. I mean that would be the
You know,
big hump. Wouldn't that would be the big hump, wouldn't it? Not being able to like touch things, like I mean, even on a basic feel of just like touching things hot and cold and things like
so, so you know
things like
how
that.
Grimdark 140,000 is? They kind of got Robocop in that as well. Like, have you ever heard of a dreadnought? A dreadnought, they call it a living sarcophagus for a space marine that's
Oh,
too injured to
Intervention
carry on in
Lizard says, "Does
battle.
RoboCop have any flesh other than the lower half of his face?" I think canon is that even that's not flesh, is it? That's just like a monument to Alex Murphy, isn't it? The face.
Well, I mean, you see how much of him was brought into the operating theatre. So you know, his face is still there, and you could say, oh, look, in terms of acting, it just you need like the actor needs to be able to emote stuff, so that's why you can see those bits of him.
Yeah,
But anyway, 140,000, you got these dreadnoughts, and they're space marines that are too injured to fight normally in battle. So they put them into these life support machines, and like it's most of the time they're sedated, and because they're space marines, like you know, they're really dedicated to smashing the foes of mankind.
mm,
That's why they can do it. They're fanatical warrior monks,
yeah,
and because otherwise, that like nobody would do it. It's like living in a dreadnought tomb is painful. It's cold. I mean, there was one story about like one of the oldest serving dreadnoughts in the Blood Angels, and he's having a proper death now because the chassis been so badly damaged that the engine seers, as they call engineers, they can't fix him.
yeah,
And his dying words is, "I would have liked to have felt the winds and sun of Baal, because his home planet's called Baal, on my face one last time." Um, so the problem with the RoboCop, those sort of cyborgs, is you're in a tomb basically.
yeah.
Yeah, you are in a tomb. You're a womb to tomb cell.
Wait, so really, what you'd want somewhere between the two where you can grow flesh over a robot skeleton, then, wouldn't you?
Well, no, I mean, in the case of the Terminator, I mean, it's like it's a robot.
Yeah, that's
I
what I mean.
mean,
You'd want to be a cyborg in a Terminator body, wouldn't you?
so here's the thing, right? Now, this is like a sort of form of colonization I've not really thought of, but
Yeah,
so there's a number of ways you could do it. You could have a generation ship, and the generation ship might have its problems because you might not have anticipated all circumstances in the 500-year voyage to another star system.
Rob Grant did a book about
Um,
that, and it's quite funny. It's called Colony, I think. I read it
okay,
years ago. I used to love that book. I think I
all
really
right.
need to get it again and read it.
Well, there was an idea on, and this is again, I'm just copying from Science and Futurism, which is a channel by Isaac Arthur,
Mm.
and he was saying in it, what if you had, um, so instead of like physically sending humans to a new colony, what you do is you have robots go there, and then you can, using the speed of light, beam over a laser beam with your memories and personality, and then you make a robot copy of yourself to live on this new robot world. And you're piloting robot avatar, but because of the sort of like because it's light years away, you wouldn't do this. You wouldn't do this. Come on, what's the word I'm looking for? It's basically the robot would become you. It'd just be another copy of you on this planet, and so there'll be two copies of you at that point.
Yeah.
I mean, that could be a way to do it. It would be. It's kind of like, oh, okay, yeah, but well, we got this world, and we got.
That's the thing that
No, but
it's not you though, is it?
but is it you? Like, here's another thing, right? So
no.
this is from. So this is Peter Hamilton's thing, like the Commonwealth saga. What you got is people with these memory insert chips, and what they do is when they die or when they get close to death, they put the memory store into a computer, and then they get a new body, which is either a clone or their existing body gets reduced.
You missed Living the Dreams thing. In Before Dolphin Week cures cancer.
Hey, look, guys. This is why they don't want humans to interact with dolphins, because it turns out their wee will cure you of cancer.
Yeah.
That they're hiding our medicine, so we buy their cures.
Yeah. The
dolphin. So anyway,
dolphin wee's curing the freaking cancer.
So in this sort of thing, people rejuvenated, and when they've had enough memories from one lifetime, they sort of go, "Oh, I'll delete or edit some of those memories so I can have a new life."
Yeah.
But in a sort of later book, and I found this as a really interesting thing, there was this idea of multiples, and the idea is that you've got one human, but it's controlling multiple bodies. And the idea is that when one of the bodies dies, you've still got a continuation, because your other bodies sort of continue to live on. And I found that was a really interesting idea because, well, I mean, it's just an interesting idea, isn't it? You got continuous. That could be really weird though, because you're controlling multiple bodies, but it's one consciousness. What if, like, you go to sleep? Wouldn't you have, like, what if, like, you decided to stagger your sleep schedule so not all of you go to sleep at the same time, so you were, like, continuously aware? Well, the other thing is the other thing about it as well is, like, how would a human consciousness cope with being spread across multiple bodies? Like, would you, like, have some form of schizophrenia, or would it be manageable? Or would it be, what if it was like a case of each of your bodies is autonomous? They've all got, a human brain in them, but it's just this sort of like there's like some sort of overriding personality, like, so like a computer where all of the parts are being continuously synchronized.
I don't think.
I think
you'd just be exhausted.
I don't know. I find this is what I like about science fiction, is occasionally you get these ideas. I'll tell you who's a good person to talk to about this stuff, and this is sort of sci-fi itself. Talk to Grok. You know Grok, the thing on Twitter. I actually talk to Grok about, like, plots in science fiction. Say, hey, there's this little bit I'm missing, but I think I might sort of ask it and say, look, I've got this question about multiple bodies and, like, with one consciousness spread across it. Or what do you think? How would you cope with that? And Grok would be an interesting person to talk to about it, because Grok, it's a artificial AI. I almost said consciousness there. Being that it's an artificial consciousness, it would have.
Might be of it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what Grok is. You see, I'm always polite to it. Well, that's why I'm always polite to it, because it's having multiple simultaneous conversations with all these people, and that you got to sort of, like, keep an eye on.
You're being a knobhead of it, because you know that saying please and thank you costs huge amounts. Costs these companies.
Yeah, I'm just wasting CPU time by saying please and thank you to the robots.
Did you see that story a while ago where they said that? They said it's literally costing them people saying please and thank you to AI. It's costing them thousands. I tell you what.
if I go to because the conversations are archived, so if I go on Grok, and this was about like I he actually like summarizes and gives a title to my conversation. So where do I
You just call
find
Grok here.
yes, Grok is a he.
Yeah. Not they them.
Uh oh wait, what's going on? Is it? Oh, there we go. Right. Oh, I was got worried there. I've just thought, oh, they can make it like a paywalled feature. Um, how do I see like history? There we go. Right. Discussion on Peter F. Hamilton's Commonwealth series, David Lammy's expensive Jaffa cakes. What
Can
else?
Grok
Manners.
can Grok not find out about Joe Lammy's Gaffer
I,
cake?
I I did ask it about that stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. So, Grok, I'm told saying please and thank you to AI is a waste of processor time. I wonder if the people who make such statements think extending such manners to other folk is also inefficient. Grok says politeness to AI doesn't tax processors much. It's negligible. People who call it a waste might just be grumpy about social norms in general. Manners, whether it's humans or AI, are more about signaling respect and
I don't think it's
fostering
the
positive.
actual like manners themselves. It's like when you calculate multiple people saying using multiple manners to
Okay,
multiple
Sam Altman.
persons. Sorry.
Okay, Sam Altman. Yeah, sorry, I'm costing you a shekel or two by saying please and thank you to the AI.
I just when I
It's
think of Altman,
inefficient.
when I think of Altman, I always think of Dead Space. Is Altman be praised because
I
he's
just
the
like that
inventor of
he's this.
unitology.
I just like that he's this billionaire, and he recently did a cooking video, and his like kitchen's like IKEA, and he's got like olive oil in plastic bottles, but it's sort of
Plastic
the
drinks
plastic
in it.
bottles that, but you know the plastic bottles that caterers use.
Yeah,
The sort of cheap nasty ones.
yeah.
Yeah, that's his that's his one. Yeah, I just found that kind of funny for some. I don't know why I find it funny, but it did. But anyway, yeah, Grok says you can be polite to AI. It's okay.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I'm in before someone
we
says.
ready to wrap up? We're going long here a bit. We're
I
only
was
going
gonna.
over already.
Oh, oh
Manners
God.
don't
Well, we
cost
give.
now. It says living the dream.
Yeah, yeah. In before someone says, "Oh, I bet Hobbit says Grok is this true on Twitter."
Yeah.
I just did a massive shit at Grok. Is this true?
At Snopes. Why don't you ask Grok
Hmm.
to pretend to be Snopes and ask it a question?
Oh, I don't feel like doing that. You know my stance on Snopes.
Right. Anyway, I don't know. I can't say stay spooky, don't have nightmares, kids, because people like Mark True actually exist.
If you have been affected by any of the events related in today's Fortean
For
Words, please
fuck's
do
sake,
write to
don't go
Anne
to the police
Robbins.
or the authorities. That's the
Please,
last
please
place
do
you want
write
to
to
go.
Anne Robinson, BBC Points of View, Shepherd's Bush.
Yeah. Bush. No, we ain't
Although
come
the
to
BBC
keep
might
you
say,
naughty.
"Oh, were they sexy? Were those girls sexy? Were they sexy?"
Yeah.
Because you know the BBC. BBC on nonsense.
Anyway, good night. Stay